Yes, everybody, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, going to provide you guys this fan show today. Looking forward to sitting down, having a conversation with you. It's been a while, I guess, in my part. I think I missed the last one. Kind of was there for it, was putting the questions for it. Then all of a sudden, kind of something kind of family oriented did come up a bit last minute, bit emergency. And I've kind of been under the weather from this last week. So feeling a little bit better now. I think the voice is starting to come back to me a little clearer than it was before. It felt very stuffy, just did not feel the same during the watch along. Even when I tried to do my screams and things like that, just wasn't really the same. But I look forward to these fan shows as always. Monday night, Monday evening. Hopefully you are keeping well. Smash that like button for us if you can. Feel free to throw in your comments. Feel free to, engage with me. I'm just going to be welcoming some people in. Then we're going to get straight to business, get straight to the show. For those of you wondering, Dave will be with me. He's just jetting back as quickly as he can from a baby shower. And big up to Dave as well for even still trying to, make it back as quickly as possible. And he will be here to do this show with me. And yeah, everyone, feel free to throw in your comments. Feel free to ask any questions to the panel members. I could star them for later. If you think there is a good question, be asking each and every person that is going to be sitting down with me and Dave. We already have Brad, Dermot, Sean, Mia, the regulars are already lined up here. So if you want to come on and have your say, feel free to do so. Would love to have a chat with you. In terms of the topics that I have already selected, not too many, because I think you guys will already be able to give me some. And we already have some good regulars right in the back end that definitely will have their own things to say. But these are some of the questions I have, or some of the topics is Hoiberg and Bentoncourt both came on as halftime substitutes to change the game for Spurs. And there was that narrative maybe aimed at Ange from the last game and from previous games around his ability to affect games with substitutions, and his in-game management in general, I think, was questioned. Is that proving to be false? Was that maybe too hot of a take at the time? Maybe we needed some more evidence to look at. I think he got the substitutions spot on in the last game, because even players like Basuma, even Pop Matasar, I don't know if they were actually playing that poorly that they warranted really being taken off so quickly. But Ange must have saw something. Maybe Mila Jedinak must have saw something, and they thought that getting in a player like Hoiberg and Bentoncourt really into that midfield was necessary, and it proved to be a masterstroke. Right, we dominated for us from the get-go in that second half, and definitely had something to do with clearly the halftime team talk that Ange has developed a bit of a superpower with, but also that in-game management with those quick substitutions. And in the past, we used to be very frustrated with Antonio Conte, Jose, other managers for not making those sort of substitutions very quickly in the second half, right on halftime. And he did that there. And credit to Postecoglou. So anybody want to have a chat about that, feel free to do so. Lots of fans, continue on the Hoiberg and Bentoncourt train. Lots of fans want to see them, in fact, start the next match. And is that really the right move, or should we be sticking with the Basuma train, trying to get him back to full confidence and up to full speed into his best form again? Let us know, everybody, because I think with Hoiberg, as much as I love defending the guy, as much as I love talking about Hoiberg, I just don't see it as for the long term. Like, maybe for short term reasons, if we're just talking about winning games, might be a good idea to bring him in. That's just long term, not a good idea for me. I just think his foot's already out the door, his head is already out the door. I think he's playing like a true professional for us right now. It's just that I think he wants to go. His mind is elsewhere. I think he will be out of here this summer. So it's better in the long term to try to see what form, or what sort of like form and quality we can try to get back from Basuma here, because he has, I think, fluctuated. He has shown that inconsistency throughout this season, and be nice to get him back to full confidence, get him back to full form, because he's going to be here more for the longer term. At least I think so, rather than someone like Hoiberg, who will be likely leaving this summer. It feels like we're only benefiting Hoiberg by actually playing him for the rest of these games, than really benefiting Spurs, should I say. Bentoncourt, different story. I think Bentoncourt is great competition for Pop Matasar in that number 8 position. He has something different as Sarr, where I think Sarr has the energy and the legs, and just has that ability to cover so much ground, similar to Bentoncourt, but in his own way, Sarr. It's just that Bentoncourt has the lovely close control, that lovely feet when he does receive the ball. He can receive the ball in the half turn and just do a full pirouette, like in just a beauty of one move, really. He has that, yeah, just twinkle toes, I think, to his game that maybe Pop Matasar doesn't exactly have. I don't think it's any slight on Sarr. It's just one of Bentoncourt's real strengths, I think, is that close control and that beautiful dribbling of his. And I think we have benefited from that when trying to start attacks, and when also firing some of those risky passes into players. It does require having that good touch and having the ability to try to turn past your man afterwards. And I think Bentoncourt has shown to be very effective at that. And so definitely continue with him. I'm just going to probably put my no or my denial of a chance for Højbjerg to come in again. I just don't really see, a reason. I don't really see us benefiting from that in the long term, maybe for a short term, but not much for the long term. Another question I have is Forest fans are clearly outraged that James Maddison wasn't given a red card for his alleged punch to Ryan Yates' stomach. Simple question. Do you even think it was a red card? Do you even think it was a punch? Because when I looked at it, it was hard to even tell like what sort of punch it was. Like, was it really even done that hard? I think like even at times when I feel pretty good after like a core workout, it's pretty easy to just smash, the core with a few punches just to feel good afterwards. So I think it would require, a pretty strong punch to Ryan Yates' stomach to make him go down and make him go down as theatrically as the way he did. Maybe it was a strong punch. So feel free to have a discussion with me. Obviously, huge Spurs bias goes into it when I'm analyzing it. I just didn't think it was as big of a deal as the Forest fans made it out to be, and it didn't look as cynical even to me as the Forest fans made it out to be. I think it was really dramatized by someone like Ryan Yates. And also, last question for me here is every passing week, it seems more and more Spurs fans want to sign Timo Werner on a permanent deal. Plenty have called it a no-brainer. Do you think it is a no-brainer to sign him permanently? What is Timo doing for you that's been so effective for us at Spurs? Like I said, everybody, those are my questions. Those are my topics. At least I can throw to you guys. Plenty more to chat about, and we already have, like I said, so many regulars about to chat with me, and they definitely will have their own things to say. And Dave, if you are flowing in here, Dave will be here in just a moment. He's just taking his time coming back from a baby shower. Actually, probably not taking his time. I think he's rushing over. So credit to Dave for coming over and joining me for the fan show today. And apologies that I missed the last one, but really do appreciate any of you guys tuning in for this one. I'm going to take a look at the chat here, see who is joining us this evening, and then we'll get the show on the road. Paul Connor becoming a member. Thank you, Paul. You've been a member with us a very, very long time. I'll take a look at my phone and see what sort of one you might have grabbed in just a second here. But I just want to say, Paul, really do appreciate you, sir, and would love to have a chat with you. I think I've had a chat with you only once on these fan shows, and I know as well that you're doing your Spurs story, and we would love to sit down with you. Paul Connor, big up for your support. Adrian Troca's in the house too. Big up to you, Adrian Troca, the one and only. Big T's in here. Big T, feel free to come on and have your say if you'd like to, sir. And he says, we got a Van de Ven and a Poro Screamer. We need Udoji and a Rom Bomb next. That would complete the whole set. And I said to you, Tyler, during the watch along, right, that I feel like our best goals this season have actually come from our defenders. Crazy enough. Scott Hynum, big up to all. Come on, you Spurs. Big up to you, Scotty, and do appreciate your support as a member. Pat Whelan's in the house as well. Keelan Kenny says, big up Dave and Jack and the Harris Army crew. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Yid Army. Woo, buzzing. Let's effing go. Come on, Killian. Hopefully you're feeling well this Monday. I can tell you're feeling good. And let's keep riding these vibes. Keep riding this win onto the castle and pick up more points there in this top four race. Big up to you, Killian Kenny. The regular celebrating 29 months. Thank you for your service. Well over 2 years, nearly 3 years. It's looking like the regular 2 years and a half. Big up, everyone. We need 9 out of 9 in the next 3 games. We need 9 points from 9 in the next 3 games. So it looks like we have Newcastle next. This shows how poor I am right now with maybe more my brain is that I don't even know what is after Newcastle. It's either the Arsenal fixture or it's the Chelsea fixture that's right after Arsenal, the regular. But I apologize for my lack of preparedness and my lack of preparation on that question. Big up to you, sir. 29 months. The regular is a very suiting name for how long you've been with us as well. So really do appreciate you and anybody that's even considered at all to pick up a membership. It does really help Dave and I out. And I think it's just a great way to connect with us a little bit closer, allows your name to pop out and just gives us that extra recognition for yourself. So when we do call your name out in the chat, we can, really engage with you and remember you. So big up to you, the regular. And I do really appreciate it for 2 years. And I'm sure Dave as well will have something to say. Big up to the Georgie Hill. Hope you're keeping well, lads. Take it one match at a time. Secure European footy for next season and drink the scum's tears as they bottle yet another Premier League title. Well, after Liverpool bottled that match, I'm not so sure there, Georgie Hill. I'm getting more nervous, sir. Sean Maddox says, afternoon and evening, everyone. Can't wait to storm the castle this weekend. Of all the times that I've done these streams with you guys and of all the times we've come up against Newcastle, this is the first I've ever seen more than one Spurs fan refer to it as the castle and talking about storming the castle. So I'm going to have maybe a question with Brad about that. I just haven't heard that term yet until kind of this past weekend. Big up to you, Shawnee. And I'm seeing more than just yourself use that. And I would love to storm the castle, considering that we probably had the worst ever watch along experience last time, I think, playing against Newcastle away from home. That was absolutely dreadful. We're able to get the revenge this time at home. Now we're going to their place. Let's hope we can get double revenge. And big up to you, Shawnee Maddox. Really appreciate your support. Marky's in the house as well. We did see the wood for the trees and chop the lot down. Yes, we did there, Mark. Sessy's Grammy Hammy. Good evening, Dave and Jack in the chat. Appreciate your support as a member. Sessy's Grammy. Alpesh Patel says, evening, Jack and Dave. Good win yesterday, but Ange needs to wield his axe on certain players who are not performing. Basuma, Madison, and Destiny. Basuma, for me, Alpesh, I can see why there's criticism. I can see why people are not fully satisfied with his recent performances because they have been inconsistent. I'd like to say, though, I don't think he's been as bad as some people make it out to be. I don't know if he's totally the problem in that midfield. I wouldn't even argue that the midfield is the complete problem right now. I think it's still partially to do with that forward line, with kind of just us fading out of games, not being as clinical as we could be. It oftentimes feels like the forwards do get plenty of chances to make something happen. It's just a bit stale when it gets up to them. I think the midfield, yes, has issues. Yes, could be critiqued. I'm not sure if it's the entire problem. For me, Madison, like, I kind of go back and forth with the guy. He has really good moments, and then he has ones where I just think he could be doing more on the ball and actually taking more risks. So I'm happy to have that conversation with some others in just a second there, Alpesh. Big up to you, sir, and do appreciate your support. DJ AK's in here. He spoke to Dave, I think, last time, DJ. Feel free to come on and have a chat with me if you want to, DJ, and hopefully you're all right this evening. Coys is in here. Derek Hutchinson, the one and only Derek, is in here. Big up, Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. And also Brad Matthews, who we'll be getting started off with first. He said, we eclipsed the forest. We definitely deforested, and we'll be eclipsing them. Also eclipsing Aston Villa at some stage, hopefully there, Brad. Ricky Nato's in here. Good to see you, Ricky Nato. We also have Emily Dunn. Appreciate you, Emily. Jay Keaveney, too. Good to see you, Jay Keaveney. And we have Basic Monster. Appreciate you, Basic Monster. Mark Cook, member for 3 months. Big up, Jack. Decent win. Big games are coming. Big games definitely are coming. And I think the Spurs are at that stage of the season where it kind of is nut up or shut up real time, because if we want to, finish in the top four convincingly, we're just going to have to go into these games and look to win, not look to pick up, a draw or anything like that. I think we are going to have to take it to these next few teams. Newcastle, I think we have to pick up 3 points there. I think we would hurt ourselves if we didn't pick up more than if we did pick up 3 points. And then also with the teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, huge games, huge rivalries, and also pride. But yeah, our own position in the league at stake as well, Mark Cook. Big up to you, sir. Member for 3 months, and appreciate your loyalty. And also one of the leaders of the Mark Army. Big up to you, my man. Paul Connor, member for 8 months. Hi, you guys. Great result at the weekend. It was good to see a strong second half. And saw it and changed it, and we smashed it. Big up to Dave and Jack. I see Dave fashionably late again. I think this time a very correct way to say fashionably late in the best of terms. Like I said, Dave is rushing back from a baby shower here at Paul Connor. So I'm very thankful that he's even made the time to join me this evening. I love having the solo chats with you guys and talking out Spurs and in a way being in our own little world. But of course, Dave wants to break in as well and have a good chat with each and every single one of you. Big up to you, Paul Connor. Appreciate your support. And I think Ange has had a masterstroke in that midfield personally, because I didn't see that being, at least the way I watched the first half. I didn't think that Basuma and Sarr were the complete problem. I think in hindsight, maybe they were, but when I was watching that game, I didn't think of them as the main liabilities or the main issues for, that kind of bad 20-30 minute period that we had in that first half. I thought it had a lot of reasons, not solely due to them. And Ange made a quick change. He looked to just make an impact with 2 different players, and he brought on Højbjerg and Bentancur, and I think it really saved the day. And I think it led to us dominating that Forest team. I think in the second half of games, we have gone on to win it. It just still hasn't always been the most convincing, even when we've gone on to beat teams in the second half. Whereas I think this time around, we just were convincing in that second half. I don't think there was any hope for Forest really at all to get any sort of chance in that game. I just think Spurs really took control, and I'm glad for it. So masterstroke from Ange indeed, Paul. And feel free to, if you have time this evening, to come on and have a chat with me about it. Just making sure I'm not missing any new names or new faces in here. We have James Paratrooper in here as well. Pop Matar Sar, the GOAT, has the best cross into the box next to Sonny. He does know how to whip it in. Rakdos Madness saying it's a no-brainer to bring in Timo Werner. Good to see. Rick C's also wanting to keep Timo. Killian Kenny doesn't want to keep Timo. So again, everybody, would love to have a good chat. Would love to have some good debate with you guys about what your choice is on Timo. Rakdos, of course, join in on the fun, sir. The link should be up there for everybody with a fan show membership. Should be up there in the community section for all of you lovely members. THFC Till I Die celebrating 27 months. You guys are absolutely flexing on us. Big up to you, Dermatron. Top 4 is ours for the taking. We are the mighty Spurs. We will rise. We will win. We are Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you guys for all you do for us. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Tron. Thank you for the 27 months of support. Thanks for showing up in the morning, afternoon, late evening for the pre-match buildups and providing your own analysis while also, sitting with Dave and I in our own kind of delusional worlds of breaking down these games. Appreciate you, Tron. It's been a long, long journey with you, sir. And everybody who hasn't already, feel free, head on over to this lovely man's channel, show this guy some support. But appreciate you, Tron. And we'll be having a chat with you in just a second. Phil Coys is in the house as well. Big up to you, Phil Coys. Like I said to many others, if you want to chat with me, feel free to do so. Always good to see you. And Dave, wasted enough time before we get to Brad, our first guest. How are you? And we're just going to take Coys, who's just become a new member. Really appreciate that, Coys. And I think we can get started with the fan show. Dave, how are you? I said, very nice of you to rush over from a baby shower. I think fashionably late is the absolute correct term this time.
Well, it was a gender reveal party. To be brutally honest, I didn't want to be there. I could have got that over phone call or text. But, at the end of the day, I suppose I'm having a niece, so I suppose that's good news in that regard. But, I'm here now. I'm back here now. So, yeah, let's get on with it.
Sounds like Dave wants more baby showers to be done over Zoom by the looks of things.
Just ring me, tell me what the gender is. I don't need to be there.
Coys has become a Flat Cat member. Really appreciate you, Coys, for becoming a Flat Cat member. And with that, just get exclusive content that no one else really gets to see. Get all of our previews exclusive to yourself. You can also participate in the fantasy league. I know it's a little towards the end of the season, but if you did have a nice, healthy score that you want to flex on the rest of us, feel free to do so, Coys. And plenty of other things that will come your way at some stage. And even sometimes content gets released early for members. It's just keep a lookout. You will notice the benefits of it very quickly. And then also, Dave, Paul Connor just earlier was celebrating 8 months as an elite member, Paul. And just wanted to say that I see Dave was fashionably late again. I gave him his explanation. Dermatron Dave celebrated 27 months, the absolute legend. And then also the regular celebrated 29 months. So we've had a lot of membership milestones being sent in. So anything to say to the lovely members before we get the
and
show
you know
started?
What? They've all been for quite some time as well. The support that you guys throw behind us is absolutely incredible. And, me and Jack don't take it for granted one bit, constantly trying to improve and do more things and all, to satisfy you guys and stuff like that. But genuinely, it does mean a lot. Like, not many people can say they've got that long-term support behind them. So fair play.
Indeed. And appreciate you, Emily. The day definitely goes faster now that Dave is joining us. And then also Just a Harmless Potatoes in here as well. Appreciate your support, Just a Harmless Potato. Michael as well as a member. Big up to you, Michael. Good second half display. Van de Ven, another masterstroke performance. Same again against Newcastle. Please, there you are. And also Dan Davenport joining us. Let's get the show started, though, everybody. We're going to bring in the one and only Brad Matthews. He's been waiting very patiently so far. Bring him in on that blue sofa.
Let's get him on. How are you, Brad?
Hey, Brad.
Hello, Jack. Hello, Uncle Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, a gender reveal. They didn't reveal it with dynamite, did they? Because they had
no. Do you know what we got? Scratch cards, right? And it's half blue, half pink, and then you scratch it, and then it reveals what color.
Not even a lottery number to go with it. That's
well, I've seen. I know we're a bit off topic here, but I saw one in America where they revealed it with a wrestling match.
Jesus, it's a bit eccentric.
The blue wrestler and the pink wrestler wrestling, and the referee, and they had the table in it. The referee was back turned, the whole thing. And obviously,
Stone Cold Stunner, yeah. And then you find out what the baby is. Brad. This is a weird place to go, I guess, off of this. If you'd like to start here, I saw on Twitter today, Forest fans were outraged that James Maddison wasn't given a red card in the last game. Do you think Ryan Yates is being a bit of a baby?
Yes. I mean, I obviously when it was on live, I didn't see it live. He was down there. What's happened there? when I watched it on Match of the Day, they showed it, and then they had it on Ref Watch on Sky Sports this morning. I watched that, and every time I've watched it, I can't for the life of me see any sort of punch.
Hard to tell what it was.
Exactly. It's certainly not nothing to floor him, to put him. I mean, he's a big lad, you know. Being knocked over by little Madison.
Dave said, yeah, Madison is like 2 times, or Yates is 2 times the size of Madison.
Yeah, I look, maybe I'm being a biased Spurs fan. Maybe we're all being biased Spurs fans, but I watched it and they showed many replays and close-ups and everything. I can't for the life of me see what the problem was. Yet they're all convinced. They're all saying, I mean, I'm not talking about the Forest fans. All the pundits are all saying he was very lucky, blah 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 sort of thing. So I don't know. Maybe it's my Spurs tinted glasses, but no, I didn't see much in that, to be honest. Seen far worse.
Yeah, I agree. And then Danilo's red card, on the theme of red cards. Do you think that should have been one? The challenge. Who was it on again? Was it on which player was it?
Lo Celso.
Oh, it was on Lo Celso.
Lo Celso, yeah.
The Forest, the Forest midfielder. Do you see that being different from Romero's, from Basuma's?
I would say that rather than that being a red card, I'd say that Romero's wasn't a red card.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did actually take the ball, and it was on his follow through that he hit Lo Celso on the knee, which is exactly what Romero did. You can't change the laws of physics as you're taking a shot. You can't suddenly stop halfway through it and then change direction. So I would say that a yellow card, fair enough, but then Romero, I think, was probably a yellow card if you're gonna card someone, So yeah, so I don't.
Do you know what, Brad? I actually don't think either of them are red cards, Romero or the one at the weekend. But they set the standard, and all I actually want is just consistency, right? That's where I get frustrated.
Yeah, I just don't see how you can, when you're kicking a ball, how you can change direction of where you're kicking. It's collateral damage, isn't it? If someone's there. I mean, what happens if a guy hits the ball, right? Kicks the ball out, and it hits the guy right in the face and knocks him out, and they carry him off. I mean, is that a foul? Is that a red card? Where does it end? So no, I don't think it was a red card. No.
Come here. So I was speaking to my old lad today. I was pretty happy going over there with the result and stuff like that. But he said to me, don't get too carried away, because we did rely on 2 defenders to pop up with a couple of screamers. So I mean, where do you sit on it? Good second half or lucky?
No, I think we're all very quick to criticise Ange for not making substitutes quick enough, and quite valid criticisms as well. But you don't tend to hear it when he makes the good ones. And I think we all in the crowd, the first half, it's when Nottingham Forest scored. I think the game sort of changed in that first half. We looked pretty comfortable up until then. Now, the goal, it was such comedy defending for that Forest goal that if you could say if Spurs are charged with throwing a game, you could show that goal as evidence because it was woeful. It's just woeful. But that allowed Forest back in the game, like West Ham. When West Ham scored, it gives you confidence. They get back in the game. And as we're coming up to half time, I'm thinking, yeah, this is not good. We're going to get the boos again, sort of thing. And we were talking, no, we need to make a change. I agree with what people have said. I don't think Basuma and Mar were that Sarr was that bad, but we had to make a change. And I have to say, Pierre Hojbjerg, or Hojbjerg, sorry, Ellie, Hojbjerg, I think was really good in that second half. I think he made a real big difference. He just gave us a little bit of grit in that midfield, to win the ball and a few passes and that sort of thing. And then you've got your Brendan Johnson, who again had a really good second half, taking players on. Werner, not too bad, not as good as I thought against Luton, but not as bad as he was against West Ham. But
came in for a lot of praise from Roy Keane after the game, though, right? He said okay about his finishing, but he affects games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that someone made the point once that if you got a front three, you can't. They're not a good front three if one of them's not only doing the assist and not scoring. So I think that's where the criticism comes. But if you get Werner bombing along on that left and taking players on, as well as Brendan Johnson on the other side, then you've got a lot of width there, and that's going to terrify defences. Whether he'll be that way by the end of the season, I don't know. as far as, but going back to the question, the second half, I think it was a good decision by Ange. He saw that it was a problem and thought, oh, let's change it up. And I thought Højbjerg made a big difference. Bentancur gave us a little bit of calmness. I mean, I like Sarr. Sarr's brilliant. He's very, very, up and down, up and down. But I think you don't get that calmness that you get with Bentancur. And I think that made the difference. I mean, another game, you might have Bentancur and Højbjerg starting, and they get taken off at half time because you need the other two on. So it's all about the game, how the game's going at that particular time, and what players you got on the bench and how you can change it. But for Mark Sand, he did it quickly, made the difference. I mean, 3-1. I was still waiting for the fourth goal so I could relax for the last sort of part of the game. But because it only needs one goal and then it's back to again. But I mean, Sonny hit the post again, didn't he? So that was pretty close to 4-1.
Speaking of Sonny,
and also I have to criticise Decky because he had the perfect chance to put through Dane Scarlett in those last minutes, and he didn't. He just balls it up totally. But by that time the game was over, so the 3 points are there. The only thing I'd say about our performance, I think it's been the same as all season. It's the main problem with Tottenham at the moment is consistency, because at times we're absolutely brilliant, but at times we're not so brilliant. And I think if we can get that consistency, or even get more consistent over a game, because you're going to have periods of a game where the opposition are going to have going to be in the game, whether you're playing, Sheffield United at the bottom or Liverpool at the top. You're going to get those times. So if you can be consistently good when you got possession, then I don't see a problem. But again, it's live and learn. It's that first season sort of thing. But your question about defenders, no, just in the right place at the right time. I mean, like everybody, we're all screaming out to someone to actually have a shot. And boy, was that a shot from Van der Ven. That just flew in. That was none of you curling it around. That was like a rocket.
Yeah.
How does it compare to Wanyama's in terms of never landing ever again?
Well, I guess when Wanyama was probably out a bit further, wasn't it?
True.
We maybe I think the keeper probably saw Wanyama's one, where this keeper didn't have a clue.
This one was kind of like if you told Van de Ven just to hit it as hard as he could, just for like a miles per hour sort of thing. Like that's what this one kind of felt like.
I get good views of the goals at the Park Lane at the South Stand end, right? And it's like I just go, hit it, someone, please hit it. And of course, Van der Ven hit it, and the same with the Poro one. It came over to Poro, and it was a lovely knock on by Bentancur, and you just said, just hit the crap out of that, and he hit it perfectly, and that was 3-1 sort of game over. But it's great. Our defenders are scoring brilliant. It's you want goals from anywhere you can get it.
I think they've scored our best goals this season. Our defenders actually, and I wish we had more amazing goals like that one. It feels like to pick from, but a lot of them have been similar in the cuts across the 6-yard box. Brad, what do you feel like though with Højbjerg and Bentancur starting the next game though? Like I don't know if you heard my rant, but I feel like Bentancur that makes sense. With Højbjerg, I just don't really see the reason because I don't think it benefits us in the long term.
I have to give a lot of credit for Højbjerg here because it's obvious that I think he's going to be going at the end of the season. I think that's probably certainty. But every time he's come on, he gives 100%. He really plays for it, and he did again on Saturday. I think you've got to look at the opposition you're playing, the circumstances of the game, the pitches that you're playing on, the weather, and then I think form your team around that. I think the top teams will have 22 players that you can replace one with the other, and it doesn't make any difference to the actual the strength of the team. At the moment, we're not there, but I think that's what you got to aim for, and you just basically play your players because at some stage, if you look at next season when we're in Europe and hopefully having better cup runs, you're going to have to be pushing your players around and rotating them. So yeah, I think it's Newcastle again. Newcastle are going to come at us. They're going to actually have a go. So you'll base your team around quickness, whereas Forest and Luton are going to sit back. So you base your midfielders on that sort of thing. I think anyway, and I'm sure Ange will. I'm sure he will.
And Brad, just quickly though, on you mentioned going to Newcastle. I saw Sean Maddox saying "storming the castle" and those sort of terms. I haven't actually heard that one about Newcastle until now. Of course, I know the phrase "storming the castle," but I haven't heard fans
No,
call Newcastle the castle before until this last weekend.
I think first of all, Sean, it's an actually brilliant comment. I love it, and I want to. Yeah, I think we should start saying that definitely. But no, I mean, I haven't heard that. When you go to Newcastle, you're playing the Geordies, I guess. Yeah, Geordies.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough Smoggies. It just depends what it's all the same sort of part of the country. But yeah, just go and play the Geordies. Well, man, all that sort of stuff.
Usually when you go to a castle, you don't see so many guys taking their shirt off, in the way that Newcastle fans do. But it's each to their own. Any final thoughts, Brad? Though, before we let you plug your channel and before we let you go. Thanks for getting us started.
Oh yes, you were saying earlier, Jack, wasn't you, about the upcoming games, wasn't you?
Yes, and I was forgetting all of them.
Okay, so we got Newcastle this week. Then the following week, there's no games because I believe that's the FA Cup semi-final. That's when we should have played Man City, but they're playing. So obviously the Man City game won't be rescheduled for that week. And by the same token, it's probably why the Chelsea game wasn't, because they're in the semi-final as well. Then the following week, we got, this is where we all know it gets difficult, and it's typical. You don't have a game for 2 weeks, and suddenly we got Arsenal on the Sunday, although it could be the Saturday if they beat Bayern. You've got Chelsea on the Thursday, Liverpool on the Sunday, and then you've got Burnley on the Saturday, which is technically speaking the last home game of the season. So I think the Man City game will either be in that week before the Burnley game, or the following week where we play Sheffield United away in the last game of the season. It's going to be one of those 2 weeks. So the week starting the 6th of May or the week starting the 13th of May. I can't see where they're going to put it in any other week, to be honest. And also the caveat there is I don't know when the Champions League games are being played. I'm presuming the semi-finals. Yeah, if the Arsenal game might be moved into playing in the semi-final, then I'm presuming that the semi-finals are 2 weeks.
If you get to the semi-finals, it'll be the last game before the last game of the season.
Yeah, I think you're right, David. I think you're right. I think you're going to have semi-finals coming up at some stage. Because we think when we played our semi-final, it wasn't, it wasn't before the season. It was before the season ended. So looking at here, I think the only time it can be is, which makes it, interestingly enough, makes it the last home game of the season, which is, the time where everyone, you get the pitch sort of, the walk around, all that sort of stuff. So, which is a shame being on a midweek, to be honest. I'd rather it being during the day. We have a little bit more time. But yeah. And then
we'll know who's leaving by that walk around anyway. You might some stuff like that. So you might just quickly. I just want to say a big up to Joseph O'Hanlon as well. Member for 1 month, my man. Big yourself up. Really do appreciate the support on that, brother. And how are you keeping? Do let me know in the comment section. But Brad, any word back on the song entry here for Blue Sofa Songs?
Well, the last day was the 31st of March, but then they apparently had some problems with the website and that, so they extended it. Apparently, all the entries are in, but there are 5,000 of them, and I've had quite a few views on the website. They're supposed to rate you, but for some reason, no one's rated me. But I do occasionally listen to a song, but I don't like to because they say comparison is the thief of joy. But I heard the 2 or 3 songs I have heard, they're all like country and western or folk songs, and I'm thinking
they let the Yanks in.
Yeah, well, actually, I already used to say it because one of the entries I heard today was an American lady doing some song about get in the trucker and that sort of trucking here, a real country and western song, and I'm thinking, oh, great, so yeah, the odds are stacked against me for doing the song I did, but we'll. What can you do? What can you do?
Well, Brad, I wish you the best of luck, and everybody, please go support this man, the Blue Sofa Songs. Please, his link is in the chat there, and he kicks off these fan shows. I think he's clearly very good about talking about Spurs. So if you do want to support this guy, who's I think made the fan shows what they are to this day, really, and one of the one of the real
Pioneers.
regulars, one of the real pioneers. So everybody,
Fan show
show some
veteran.
Brad some love, please, and show him some love on his own channel.
Yeah.
He needs it. He
Support
deserves it.
support your local veterans.
Or your veterans, exactly.
Hopefully,
Veteran Irish.
there is a new song on it at the moment. As I said last week, hasn't got that many views. I don't see why. I think it's a fairly good song. But I'm the next song will be probably at the end of this month, and it might be like a fairly sort of punky, rocky song. That's what I'm planning anyway. So hopefully, but yeah, please check the channel out. Support these guys. Support anyone else that's on here. You know, do the old community thing. It's a brilliant community. Yeah, what more can I say? Like, share it with your friends. You know, it's only, listen, when I have to watch some of you guys do your live streams, it's on like for an hour, 2-3 hours. With my songs, they're only about 5 minutes at the most. I'm at your day.
Great plug. That's a great plug. That's a great reason. Big up, Brad. Really appreciate you, sir. And I hope you have a good rest of your week and let you storm the castle.
Yeah, I'll be storming the castle on Saturday.
Good man. Alrighty, Brad. We'll see you for next time.
Guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, Brad.
Believe it, Ange.
Come on,
celebrate everything.
Celebrate everything. Love that, Brad. See you, man. He
Big
kicks
up,
us
man.
off well, as he always does.
Yeah, it's not an easy job to do, you know, coming on first and stuff like that. And he does it. Makes it look easy. So fair play to Brad on that regard. Who have we got next, Jacko?
We have the one and only Dermatron next. Just want to say to Koiz, like, really appreciate it. And it's normally simpler than, you know, like we had to explain, you know, you had to get the fan show membership. And then when he got the fan show membership, Koiz, looks like now, you know, it's a very full queue. So I bet it's been kind of frustrating for him in the last few minutes or so. So Koiz, like I said, just either keep hitting the link, wait for someone to drop out, and then you can drop in, and then you'll join the queue. I do apologize for that because I really am. We're very appreciative of you even grabbing the fan show membership, and I'm sorry that it's made slightly confusing for you or slightly more difficult. But you could come on and have your say. It's just a very full queue at the moment, and once it dies down a little bit, you definitely can get in here. Sorry about that. Just to explain maybe the frustration that you're going through. But Dermot,
and there's
we
nothing
have
we
him
can
next.
do. We can't boot anyone out. You know, they've all you know clicked in and stuff like that. So you know, the quicker not the quicker we get through guests, but when we start getting through more guests, it will free up, and then there'll be space to get back in the back end. We don't set the limits on it. That's set by StreamYard. There's nothing we can do there in that regard.
All right, appreciate your understanding, and we're gonna go on to the Tron next, Dave. See what he has to say.
Where is he?
Here he is.
Big up.
You bring him in. You bring him in.
Big up, Tron. How you keeping, lad?
See, you're trying to boot me out, Uncle Dave. This isn't good now.
David's trying to boot you out.
I know you're trying to boot me out. Uncle Dave trying to boot me out. You might try to tell your niece when she's born. Uncle Dave was booting me out of the chat. You know. How are you anyway? How are you, lads?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's kick it off with your favourite player, Dermo. I mean, how do you think Brennan Johnson got on yesterday?
I thought he played quite well the first half. I thought he went quiet the second half, to be fair. But I thought the first 15, 20 minutes, he done well. Then he went quiet like the rest of the team, which was really frustrating, really annoying. How we keep doing so well for 15 minutes and think, oh, we've done enough. And then the second half, he kicked on with the rest of them. And it proves my point. Once we have pacey wingers, we are dangerous up front. And once we get a number 9 striker, Lord Jesus, teams are going to fear us next season. We're going to terrorize defenses next season, left, right, and centre with that front three. Werner, Johnson, and the number 9. And put Sonny in the number 10. We are literally going to tear teams to pieces next season. So I'm super, super excited. Got the score right, like in my match day prediction, which I was over the moon with yesterday. I was like, she said it on me on watch along. I got it right at last. But yeah, look, it was a game of 2 halves, a game of 3 halves, really. 15 minutes, brilliant. The rest of the first half, I wouldn't even bother going to watch it. And then the second half, it would be a... Sorry, go on.
Just on the first half, Dermot, because I agree with you. You know, we sort of faded out the game, you know, for a period of maybe 20 minutes towards the end of the first half, and you could maybe say that's a criticism that you could lay at Tottenham's door a lot this season. That, you know, we sort of don't do well in first halves, and maybe sometimes we phase out the games and stuff like that. What do you put that down to? Why does that keep happening?
I don't know. In Andrew not telling them to go out and do it, that's for certain. I just think the players think. I don't know. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. And look, and to your man's comment there, if I can actually answer that, actually, Baloo. Why can't Son play in the number 10? Tell me why you can't play in the number 10. It's an opinion. It's an opinion, like playing Kulu down in the number 10. It's an opinion. So I am being serious, and I normally am talking. I do, when it comes to Spurs, I'm as serious as anyone. You know, I've got 43 years behind me of supporting this team, so I have a little bit of experience supporting Tottenham. And I think he can play number 10. He's getting into that age bracket. He's no good as a winger because he's starting to lose a bit of pace. So why not move him in the side where he can play a little bit of a freer role, if you know what I mean? But to your question, Dave, I can't answer that because nobody knows. It's the $42 million question, isn't it? Why do the players do that? And she's not telling them to do it. It's a hang up from the Conte Mourinho days. We've done it back then. And it seems, I don't know if it's a certain place within the squad that does it. I don't know. I can't answer that because I don't think anyone can answer that question, to be fair.
You also mentioned Timo Werner, Darmo, about, you know, being in that front three next season with the pace and stuff like that. Look, I saw me and Jack sort of that conversation earlier on, and, you know, I was saying to Jack that I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to sign Werner over the summer, whether I agree with it or not. You know, Postecoglou seems to pick him week in, week out, and, you know, he's starting to come in for a bit of praise there lately. So I do feel, and we do think that Postecoglou is playing players mainly from the start that will be here next season. That's why you won't see Højbjerg start between now and the end of the season, unless barring probably a serious injury crisis and stuff like that. I mean, so would you be okay if Spurs signed Timo Werner?
I think it'd be a good signing, guys. I really do. And I like Werner. He's got a pace to burn. His finishing is awful. He really is got pace. His finishing's all, but he's got pace to burn, and he has been dangerous. He's whipped in. Look at the goal yesterday. He whipped it in there. If there was a number 9 in there, that a proper number, Harry Kane, he would have been gobbling up goals left, right, and centre with the crosses Johnson and Werner have been putting in all season. So look, I think it's a good squad player. I think it's an improvement on what we got, and I think it's worth 15 million. It's cheap. It's not expensive. It's not going to break the bank. So I think it's well worth doing for 2 or 3 years. Get him on the two-year contract and see how it goes. But I think it's worth doing, and I would if I was Ange.
Interesting. People in the comments, let us know what you think on that. That's just a theory that maybe I was cooking up earlier on with Jacko. So let us know, you know, would you be okay if Spurs, you know, with a bit more bite-sized sample, how did bring Werner in here on a permanent?
Yeah, I would. I definitely would. I think it's a no-brainer. It really is a no-brainer. He's played so well. He's done well in games. He hasn't done well in certain games. I'll give you that. When he has played well, he's been dangerous. So for me, it's a no-brainer.
Something else that's been labeled as a no-brainer, Dermot, has been the number 6 position. Like everybody's saying, like we need a number 6. Basuma is not good enough. He needs replacing fast. Plenty of people who weren't even Højbjerg fans are now calling out for Højbjerg to start the rest of the games, you know, for the remainder of the season. That's how much they think a new number 6 is needed. Would you agree with that? That's a priority this summer? Would you disagree?
I think it is a priority. We need to get a number 6 in. Højbjerg's not going to be there next season. Basuma has been sort of a letdown since the Luton game. And for me, I think we do need a number 6. Really do think we do need a number 6. We need somebody. Basuma hasn't been that racist. Let's be honest. Since Luton, since the dive at Luton, and as another game, he's just lost his confidence completely. So I think we need to get him back there again, where we see him at starting next season like that, hopefully. But I think Højbjerg and Bentancur did well yesterday when they came on. I thought myself personally, they balanced out the midfield. It was like the back 4 had somebody to give it to, and they then linked up with the front 3. It seemed that we would link from back to forward, where with Basuma and Sarr, we seemed a bit, I think, confused in the middle, if you know what I mean, a little bit disjointed. And
do you know what it was for me, Dermo? When I look at Bentancur and Højbjerg, they came on with almost an urgency, right? Every time they got the ball, one touch, putting it forward, bang, bang, bang. You know, I feel like in the first half, when we went 1 up, that maybe lack of urgency stopped. Maybe we took our foot off the gas, took it a bit easy. Whether that's conserving energy, we don't know, right? But I think the difference for me, when Bentancur and Højbjerg came on, they just come on with urgency. It's one touch, no flapping about. They don't need 10 touches to go sideways. One touch, bang, straight forward.
Yeah, it is. And that's what it was in the second half. It was bang, bang, bang. In the first half, it was pass into the midfield, and they were diddling and daddling around a bit after the first 15 minutes. And we were getting caught out left, right, and centre. Forest overran us for some, midfield overran us for some parts of that first half. It was really frustrating to watch because we started the game brilliantly. The first 15 minutes were outstanding. Got the early goal, and that's when we should have kicked on, but we didn't. And when Højbjerg and Bentancur come on in the second half, Højbjerg is not everyone's cup of tea. I grant you that, but he did well yesterday, and Bentancur did very well, and so did Højbjerg, and it balanced out that midfield, and it gave the defence, Van de Ven and Romero, to pass it to, and they knew if they give it to them two, they knew they were going to link up with the front three, with Maddison, and everything was linked, where in the first half, it seemed a bit disjointed. I think that's the only way was the way I could describe it. Very disjointed yesterday.
With Højbjerg, just quickly, I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, you think him and Ange Postecoglou need to have maybe new discussions about maybe, staying around here and, being in the team next season, giving him a real opportunity to fight for his place?
Yeah. You say that again, Dave, because you cut out and I got the last bit of the question. Sorry.
I was saying there, do you think Ange Postecoglou and Højbjerg maybe should probably have new conversations? Because I think we're all agree at the outset, it looks like Højbjerg wants to go and stuff like that. But do you think Ange should be actually reassessing the situation and calling them in, and having more discussions about maybe keeping them beyond here heading into next season? Because when you actually look at what Højbjerg's offered off the bench this season, I mean, there's not too many players that we can bring in here that is going to offer us that next season, that calmness, that composure, in a way of being able to change games, give us that something different.
Yeah, I think so. I think he should look at it again. I think Højbjerg did offer some of the difference when he came on. I think Højbjerg wants first-team football and he wants to play all the time. So, look, you can't blame him. He wants to progress in his career. But I think if he was to look at it logically and think, well, look, Tottenham are building something here. I think he should. I think Ange should look at it again. And I hope he does. I love Højbjerg. Højbjerg is one of my favourite players, apart from Johnson. And I love what Højbjerg has done for us. People seem to forget he was the only one during the Conte and Mourinho's time that actually stood up. Who actually was proud to wear the shirt. Where other players were couldn't give a shit about the shirt. He was one of the few that did care, who gave 100% every game. He's not everyone's cup of tea. He's not everyone's player like him. You don't like him, you do like him. But what you can call Højbjerg, for me, even this season, is 100% professional. He will go on and he will do a job. Happy, not happy. Do you know what I mean? He's been a model professional. And some of them players that were under Conte Mourinho should look at Højbjerg and thinking, okay, we should have done that. Because there's a lot of players, Dave, will get and praise. Eric Dyer, Ben Davis. A lot of players that weren't putting in the shift, that weren't putting in the long yards, if you know what I mean, and getting praise. And Højbjerg was getting all the haters. When Højbjerg was the better players back in them days. And see him this season, he's been a model professional. Yeah. He's coming. He's done a job. So Ange ain't stupid. Ange will look at it thinking, hang on a minute. He changed the game yesterday, and he's changed the game a few times when he's come on this season. Yeah. So I hope Ange does revisit it. I hope he doesn't go, Dave. I'm being honest. I really hope Højbjerg does stay. I think he will go. I'll be very sad if he goes, but I hope he stays, and I hope that they revisit it and think, you can be this you can be a member of this squad and we can be successful. But the likes of Davis and Dyer and all of them and Sanchez, they were all getting praise where Højbjerg wasn't back in the day, under Mourinho and Conte. You know yourself, Dave and Jack, you went on with it. You went on about it long enough about them players. not caring for the shirt, and that's what it means. That's what it means.
You know what, Dermot? I was just thinking there. I'm actually just delighted we're at a time where we can actually string. You know, although we're boring in possession, at least we can keep possession. You know, it's a far cry from where we once were a couple of years ago. So, you know, we're progressing in that regard. But Dermot, just quickly before we let you plug your channel, where people can find you, my man. Hoiberg's hairstyle. Now, what would you give that a rating out of 10? I would say a solid 9 yesterday.
I like it. I actually like it. I was looking at it thinking, do I do a bit of a Hoiberg in my hair? I was thinking that, looking at that, thinking, you know what? I like that. But no, I think Hoiberg was great yesterday. He was fantastic, and I love the guy. I love the guy's attitude. I love his Viking warrior type thing. I think he's a top professional, and I think any youngsters that want to know what is to be a top professional should look at Hoiberg. First in, last out. That's a professional. That's when you need players in your squad like that. A bit like a James Milner in a way. If you look how he was professional, not the greatest player in the world, but they will always give you 100%, and that's what you want. That's what you want in your backups in your squad. That will feed off other players. Will feed off that. So but I love his hairstyle though. It looks really cool.
He's ready for Italy, Don Calleone sort of hairstyle. But Dermot, where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, well, I know a few people in the chat have not totally agreed with everything I've had to say tonight. I think I've gained a few new fans, I think. But yeah, if you like what I say, I'm only 8 away from 1,800. If you can get me there tonight, I'd be really, really appreciated. All it needs 8 of you just to jump over, hit the link, and get me up to 1,800. I really would appreciate that. We've got the Daily Hotspur News, which is now moved to 6 or 7 now every day now from the 4 o'clock slot. We've got the watch along, which I'm doing tomorrow night. I'm doing the Ireland versus England ladies game. So come on, you girls in green. Let's beat England tomorrow. And then we've got all the build up to the Newcastle game. And tonight I'm doing a pre-record on the passing of Joe Kinnear, the great Spurs and Ireland legend who passed away sadly yesterday. And also do my Premier League review as well. And that will be going out for the members both tonight around 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. So, yeah, very busy, but only 8 away from 1,800. Please, I would love to get there. It means a lot to me if you do.
Well, if we could get 8 people over there to smash that subscribe button and get into 1,800, you know, make Spurs fans' day. Why not? It's a great day to do it on a Monday, especially. But Dermo, big yourself up, my man, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Yeah, I'll speak to you very soon, and take care, guys. And again, thank you for everything you do for us. You're absolute legends to pair you.
Thank you for 27 months, Dermatron. Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, I can't
absolute legend.
22 years. That's just flown.
Yeah.
It really
I think it's been a lot longer than that as well. I think it's been longer than that too. So
I think it's been nearly 3 years actually.
Yeah, I think
since I started watching you guys. So yeah, it's fine. But thank you for everything you do. You're great supporters and great friends. So thank you very much. You really are.
Love you, my man.
Big up, Dermo. Appreciate that. Hey, people, get over there, hit that subscribe button. Dermo, I'll see you soon, my man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good one, brother.
Have a good one, man. You too, brother.
Everybody, that's Dermotron. Make sure you get over there. Let's get him to 1,800. We have a super chat here from Dropkick Your Teacher. Big up. The clips just hit here in Dallas. Yeah, my missus was telling me about this today. I think, you know, you won't see another one for 100 years or something like that, I believe. So, you know,
no.
exciting. No,
I don't think it's not like that, Dave. Where like they I think like a full eclipse, like there will always be one. I'm not sure how often they happen, but they happen. Like I went to one in Oregon, like 4 or 5, 6 years ago, something like that. So they do happen in just various regions of the world. Like you can see like the total apocalypse of the sun being completely covered. And I do think in Texas, in fact, is where you could see like the whole sun be covered by it as well. So I was able to see it personally once in my life. It is actually really special. It is something you can't really describe. And if you're able to get any of that, Dropkick Your Teacher, I'm very jealous. My uncle, actually, who I was saying to the people in the back end, is an astronomer, and he's actually there in Texas right now, nerding it out with fellow astronomers for the solar eclipse. Yeah, he's over there right now, nerding it out. So if you run into him, he doesn't look anything like me, but if you run into a certain Bernstein, let me know. Dropkick Your Teacher. Big up, sir.
Wow, big up.
And also
big
Dallas,
up.
love Texas, love everything about Texas. Big up to you, my man. appreciate you.
But I was going to suggest, mine is due to happen in a couple of minutes, and Jack's due to happen in around 25 past 8. So what we might do, Jack, because it's like once in 20 years or something like that, we might, drop in and out for the solar eclipse when it's happening on either end. So when yours comes about, just drop out and I'll take over. When mine comes about, I'll drop out for a few seconds.
All of a sudden. Yeah, no worries. No worries. But I think you'd be able to tell, right? Because I think you would get some of it just becomes slightly darker. You can tell. I think even where I am right now, you can tell that there's a slight change even in the sort of how bright the sun is right now, unless I'm making things up as per usual. But we're going to keep it moving. At least I'm going to keep it moving because the eclipse hasn't hit me yet. Actually, just quickly, I think we have a really generous super chat here from Ellie. Big up, Ellie. She says, and hopefully we get to talk to her later. She says, this is for all the hard work you great lads put in. I have a special place in my heart for you and both. And the way we all bonded with Højbjerg was so cool. And the Brickhouse Viking Salzburg, as you called him. He's our number 5 and he makes us feel alive. Højbjerg. Ellie, when I first joined kind of the YouTube sphere and kind of the YouTube world, Højbjerg was probably one of my first hot takes or one of my first early takes. I think I had said during that Jose season that he was probably one of our best players, if not the best player from that season, because if that midfield really was dreadful at the time. And I felt like Højbjerg was the only one during that Jose season that was giving me any sort of sanity, really, that a guy could actually make a tackle, play a pass, that type of thing. And I just fell in love with him and really appreciated him ever since then. When it comes to Højbjerg, though, he is a divisive one. I'd definitely say probably the most divisive player ever, I think, to be in a Spurs shirt. It just seems like either you love him or you think he's you think he's the worst player in the midfield. It's never in between. I haven't come across many people that when you ask them about Højbjerg, they feel sort of indifferent, about him. It's very rare. I think the only person was like Flav when we had him on the podcast. He was the only guy that seemed indifferent that I've ever asked about it. But I love our Højbjerg. I'll be very sad when he goes. I don't think he was ever really truly appreciated or given enough respect. That's, I think, how you and I see it, Ellie. Of course, people can see it differently, but we really do appreciate you. And it's been a long journey with Højbjerg, and I bet this was a great final send-off of a performance that you got to see. And on the Twitter timeline, Dave, it was all Højbjerg.
Look, what I will say is, Ellie, I think there's going to be a Højbjerg goal before he signs off, so it won't be the last cameo we see of our guy yet. Dean Salzburg. Look, I think he's got a raw deal, to be honest with you, at Tottenham Hotspur. He was brought in to be that steel behind Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli. He done that job. The only one that worked in that midfield when others' hearts weren't in it. Then he had Weeks beside him for one part. Then he had Skip beside him for another part. Without him, many people blame him. He doesn't elevate the likes of Skip and Winks and stuff like that. I mean, nothing could elevate Winks. In fact, he de-elevated. He went down to the Championship. So, I mean, he gets a bit of a rough ride from the Spurs fan base. I actually find it comical. No one wanted Højbjerg in the team or in the starting lineup in the start of the season. And now come the end of the season, everyone's asking for him to start games. I find it comical personally, Ellie. But look, for me, I think he's been a good servant. This guy, he's paid through paying for the badge. He set a good example around the training ground when others haven't. There's reports out there from Football London last year, first in the training ground, first to last to leave, stuff like that. He's really embraced Tottenham when he's been here. And for me, what I like about him is he gets on with his work. He doesn't get caught up in I know he said stuff recently in the press, but in general, his time around at Tottenham, he's barely moaned in the press. He hasn't threw other people under the bus and blamed everyone else, with the excuse culture that was happening around Tottenham. So for me, he would go with my utmost respect. Unlike others where I refuse Sanchez, Dyer, Winks would not send them off. I will actually applaud Højbjerg off and wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I wish him the best.
About his time.
I wish him the best of luck with his career. I think he is a true professional, and ultimately, yeah, I think was hard done by other midfielders in the team. And often people kind of grouped him with those people, like Dave said. And I think that was unfair towards him. And I think even his most recent or his last season under Conte, I think until things really started to turn in that Conte season, people were talking about how that was one of Højbjerg's best ever seasons, like in a Spurs shirt, right? He was chipping in with goals, assists, dominating midfield. And then, yeah, the whole season just really hit a roller coaster. But I just feel like Højbjerg, yeah, it's feel bad for him in a few different ways. And I think Dave put that very well. And Ellie, we've always been there. And it's going to be sad to see your boy go. It'd be sad to see your man go. And I know you always have that wonderful experience with him as well. having dinner, and you went up to his table, and he was really kind about it. He's just a class act, Hoiberg, so we appreciate it. Ellie,
Have to
thank you
have
for
a
the
Hoiberg
support.
slumber party before he goes.
No more Hoiberg slumber parties. You're gonna have to find somebody else, Ellie. Looks like she's a Gibbs
big-
White fan, though. Looks like she's a Gibbs White fan, and as Dave and I are too. So maybe we'll bond over a new midfielder in the future.
Yeah.
There, Ellie. Appreciate you.
Big up, Ellie. Really appreciate the support as well. Really do. And look, hopefully, I was expecting you tonight to come on and speak about Hoiberg at some stage. So hopefully we see you at some point. Really do appreciate the kind support there, Ellie.
Did you want to take a quick look at the eclipse, Dave? Yeah. Did you want to take a quick look at it? Don't stare into the sun, by the way.
Like it's happening now. I don't know how this eclipse things work, but it's very cloudy, so I might not see a thing. I'm guessing. But look, we'll keep it going until I see darkness around me. So who we got next?
You can see people on the sidewalk where I am actually starting to line up and take a look at what would be. I think like only for us, it's like 85% or something for us. It's like nothing. It's like not even really that much of an eclipse at all. But you can tell it's getting slightly darker. But for a brief period. But we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna bring on, I think it's Sean afterwards. Sean, let's see what this man has to say. It's been a while.
He's a bone with us.
That's right.
Let's get him on.
There you are, Sean.
How's it going, Dave? How's it going, Jack?
Hey, Sonny.
Again,
So you were
Dave,
disappointed in us yesterday.
I was very disappointed, Dave. And again, I think the Vicario for man of the match kind of shows where I'm at. And again, I think that my main critique is I think when you were struggling for man of the match candidates, a lot of those players had one good half, where I think Vicario had a phenomenal half, and then he maintained his job, where I felt like a lot of those players were really poor defensively first half. Again, VDV had a great goal, but he was half of, along with Udogi, at fault for conceding that soft first goal and looked a bit shaky that first half. And again, I think it's really just that Vicario, again, I think he's been so good all season that we kind of discount what he's doing because we're like, oh, that's just Vicario being himself.
That was going to be my excuse. I was just going to say that, I expect that of him now. I almost sort of take it for granted.
Yeah, no, and again, I think that is understandable. But again, I think on the days when everyone else is kind of struggling a bit more and he's really stepping up, that we should have a chance for him to actually win that man of the match poll. On days where the attackers weren't phenomenal for a lot of the game and the defenders were poor. Again, I think that him making that save when we're at 1-1 keeps us from losing that game. I think we concede there, and that one Wood smashes that into the back of the net on that rebound save from Vicario. We lose that game.
I actually agree with you because oftentimes when Dave and I are searching for man of the matches, the only times we usually consider the goalkeeper is when we've been pretty poor, like on the day, like where we've either drawn or lost or barely got through it type of thing. And that's the only time it seems like when the goalkeeper has ever shown much credit, and probably why then it's such a hard position to play, because some of those saves that you brought up there, right, they don't really get mentioned or really get brought up right after the game by people like Dave and myself, because I don't know, do we take it for granted? Is that what it is, like, Sean? Do we just take Vicario for granted, like some of the saves that he makes?
Well, that, and then again, sometimes he makes the save because his positioning is so good. He's already there to
makes it look
clear
easy.
that ball or kind of relieve that pressure by creating that pass back for the fullback ahead of anything. So all of his proactive work almost counts against him. He's only judged on a few of those kind of worldies. But again, just his ability to find that pass 100% of the time under pressure when the forward is running at him. Again, I think he keeps this machine running in terms of the Spurs team in a way that we couldn't do. If we had not signed Vicario, we were running Forster, Lloris. Again, we would concede 6 goals every game.
No, look, do you know, I absolutely, completely agree with you. Look, I don't think Vicario gets enough respect from, Spurs fans, but also, pundits alike in general. Look, like I said, I think he does it that routinely I almost just expect of him now and take it for granted, which I shouldn't, because, when Hugo Lloris was coming to his end, we know what not to do, right? Also how good Vicario has been with his feet. We haven't had a keeper like that ever, who's been that good with his feet, brings that calmness and composure. And you know what? There are games this season that could have been different if he didn't pull off some of them great saves. There was one against West Ham, one-on-one with Mikel Antonio, that I think completely went under the radar as well. I actually agree with the point you're making. To be honest with you, I probably do take Vicario for granted at this point, and I probably do have to, recognize a bit more what he is doing in that regard. He is actually pulling off heroics,
Yeah. No, I think we've gotten it clear enough. Again, I think it's just putting some more respect on his name, because again, he's so good that he you're like, oh, well, this is the minimum expectation. Where for other players, again, that bar is much lower in terms of what they have to do to really stand out. Again, I don't want to.
I think I got carried away with Van de Ven's goal though yesterday. You can't blame me.
Yeah, no. Again, Van de Ven's goal made all of us pretty happy, and again, I think it's also. I think as we saw yesterday was more players were just ripping shots. Even in that first half, we were struggling a bit more. Our shooting numbers weren't anywhere near as bad as they have been. So I'm hoping Andrew's message of get the ball and shoot at goal is clicking, because that was my frustration with Son.
Yeah.
Was there were times where he's carved a bit of space near the top of the 18. So he glides past kind of that one player, and then he's looking for the pass instead of kind of like what Harry Kane would do. He gets a yard, rips a shot. And again, I think we're not doing enough of that, especially in kind of how high our system pushes all of our players up. We have so many guys that can go in and fight for those rebounds, but we're not ripping as many shots.
Do you know, I've had a long talk about this, Sean. I don't know whether you would agree with me or not. You're sort of a bit of a deep thinker like me. I mean, part of me maybe sees it because they're more or less receiving the ball in a standing position, right? More people would be more likely to pull the trigger when they're running onto things and, to have room to tee up their shot. Whereas because we're camping the opposition half and a lot of it's 5-yard movements, they're actually taking the ball in sort of a standing position where it's more awkward to actually get your shot off or generate the power or the accuracy you need behind it.
Maybe, but again, my counter there would be we're in such good positions. If you can move that ball a yard, half a yard, and rip a shot, it doesn't matter if you're standing. I mean, Harry Kane did the same thing. Every time he touched the ball, back to goal, he would try and take a touch, turn and shoot without even having seen where the goal was. And again, not every player should be doing that in quite that capacity. But again, I think we're seeing a lot of times when our players will create that little bit of space, so the shot opens up, and then they don't take it. Either they turn back around, they try and pass that responsibility off to someone else. And again, that was kind of the nice thing to see with Van de Ven and Porro and their goals. There was no intention in a pass there. They were like, the ball is coming and I am ripping this shot. And again, that's where you kind of saw that by taking that early shot, the defenders can't get in position to make that block. And I think that's part of the problem is we're not taking that first kind of early window. Again, sometimes the shot's not on, and that's fine. Or your opponent, your teammates in a better position. But in some of those instances when they're not, that's when you have to be thinking about getting that shot off. Which is kind of weird because I felt like Son normally used to be more of take a touch, get a shot off a bit more. And it felt like at least in the last month or so, we haven't seen that as much. And
I'd agree with that.
What's going on with Son there.
I'd agree with that because you and I mentioned in the watch along, Dave, that if anybody, I'm going to give a green light to shoot, almost like in the way you were describing Harry Kane too. It would be Sonny. Like I'd allow Sonny to have a crack from 30 yards, like even if it came off as a time where maybe wasn't even the best decision or a bit selfish. I wouldn't blame him because he's somebody who I'd be happy to see shoot from that range because we know what he can do. He scored some absolute screamers for us. It's just that for some reason it feels like either he's given himself that sort of, like I don't know, that he's almost like he's locked himself out of being able to shoot it. I know Ange just said that he hasn't done that to them, but feels like it is with Sonny and some other players.
Well, I mean, whether Ange just told them not to shoot, what he needs to do is go ahead at practice and start yelling at them when they don't shoot, until that's their instinct a little bit more. Because again, I think kind of the two kind of instincts that we don't have as well developed yet is we don't have that player crashing that back post late on a lot of our offensive runs. Again, that's why there were so many balls that Werner put in that rolled right through across the six, where the forward, or essentially where the player didn't kind of gamble on that ball being there. And again, I think that's something that hopefully we're able to work on, that positioning and just having the faith that, again, you trust your teammate, you know that ball is going to come and you make the run to be in that position. So when the ball comes across, you stick your foot out and you tap it in and you score a goal. And it feels like, other than kind of Johnson at times, who, again, yesterday wasn't as sharp on that, but he's usually the one who's the most adept at.
I'd argue he's the only one that gambles on the back post. He's the only one.
And again, I think that's what we need to see is that one is because we can't let that ball go across. And that's kind of the nice thing about, I think, Poro's goal is Poro got to that back post, the ball's bouncing around, it's in front of him, and he smashes it. And we have so many chances if we're making that run.
If we also had a proper striker as well, the ball wouldn't even get to the back post. That striker would be, there ready to tap at home. Look, for me, I think there's a bit more work to do in the forward line, over the summer and that. So hopefully we can get that done, because I just think we're one or two sort of classy players away from really elevating Ange. But I do want you to take this with me when it comes to dropkick your teacher. He says, I can't imagine how frustrating it is for Ange to constantly have to lay into the team at halftime. You think they'd play better to avoid this? I mean, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think Ange is laying them into them at halftime? Do you think things are being scripted up at halftime because Mila Jelinek is coming down with maybe different instructions from the eye in the sky rather than what they were coming into the game with? What do you put these second half performances down to, I guess?
Well, again, I think the recent ones have been Ange just going in there, and you don't need a team talk if you take two of the starters out and you put them on the bench and you say, I'm not happy that this isn't going to work, because everyone else realizes, like, if they took those guys off, I'm next if I don't step my game up. But I think the frustration has to get to that point.
Yeah, the frustrations do have
so again, I think it's so there's a bit of a weird kind of dilemma in terms of we need to figure out how to get these players motivated from the beginning. And again, I think part of that has to be Ange being more willing to take off non-performers. So again, I think it starts with, hey, you're not doing a good enough job. I am going to go and play so-and-so next game. And I think part of that maybe goes down to starting to bring some of those youth guys onto the bench and saying, hey, if I have to constantly pull you off to get a performance out of you, I'm going to start with the bench guy, and then I'm going to bring in this academy kid as a sub later in the game, and you're going to sit there and watch everyone else play. And again, I think until Ange does that a little bit more, it seems like some of those starters might not fully get it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
They have to see kind of that there's the meritocracy, and their spots are in jeopardy because there are guys in the wings who want to follow instructions and want to go out there and put in a full shift.
Really good answer, Sean. Go ahead.
Just on that, though, just on what Sean was saying, I think this is where maybe Ange hasn't helped himself to a degree this season, because Pochettino done it. He pulled up the likes of Ben 11 players like that from the academy to create that, sort of to try and keep some of the senior players honest and stuff like that. And I do think maybe Ange has missed the boat there a little bit this season. But look, at the end of the day, I'm still happy with the job he's done.
Yeah, again, I think we saw that when he brought Scarlett on, I think that was positive to give him some real minutes at the end. And again, I think getting a few more of those guys on the bench every game and bringing them on will go a long way towards showing all of those first teams, some of those fringe guys, that if you're not going to perform, you're replaceable. It's kind of step up or step out of the way.
Yeah.
So again, I'm hoping we see that kind of going into the future. And there's a lot of positions. I think where we'll be seeing guys move on. Again, I think Hill's probably out.
Yeah.
Solomon, we haven't ever seen him play, so I have no idea what his at. But I'd still be bringing an academy kid up to at least compete with him, because you never know how a player's going to come back from injury. Hoiberg, again, I big respect to him for how much of a professional he has. I don't think he has the same legs that he had when he started at the club. Again, I think he's aging out of kind of the ability to play, especially in this Ange system. So again, I think he probably goes on, looks for something where he's guaranteed a little bit more playing time that suits more so his play style. And that's fine. We bring in a 6. And again, I think we need to bring in a striker to compete with Richarlison. And again, we have a lot of kind of prospects. I don't know if any of them are close to being ready yet, but it's all about kind of just slowly improving that team. Again, he's been here a year, and this is a hard progress.
Yeah.
Give him another year, and we'll see. I think hopefully that much more. So again, I think the next step is really to just integrate some of those youth players into, because our biggest problem right now is a lack of depth in this squad. I mean, if you look at the top teams competing, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, they just have a lot more depth throughout the squad. So they're not as susceptible to an injury or two as much, or a player being out of form. So again, I think we'll get to that point. It's just one of those where it needs a little more time.
Yeah. No, look, I completely agree. I do think, if competition would probably make Maddison perform a lot more on it week in, week out. Probably wouldn't have seen as long as Basuma perform as he was and stuff like that. And for me, that's where we need to get to. But look, Postecoglou's telling that is, in interviews that he's doing and stuff like that. I just don't think sometimes we don't want to hear that, but he is genuinely sort of echoing, more or less what you said there. But drop kick your teacher. I mean, look, I think it comes down to like what Sean is saying, just a bit more competition, making substitutions as often as we do at halftime. That ain't right. You can't rely on that, going into next season to spark an impact. If you had a bit more competition, because Sean's right, players are more or less, if they're fit, they're guaranteed their spot. Absolutely guaranteed it. So it allows them to go through them ups and downs and fluctuates in forms. When you look at the likes of Liverpool and City, in fairness to Klopp this year, he brought through some youngsters. He had them chomping at the bit, ready to go. Keeps the senior players honest to push them to a more consistent level. So, in order to avoid these halftime rants and halftime substitutions, because it didn't, it didn't help Conte when he was doing all this sort of stuff, and it's not going to help Ange going into next season. So the only way of getting rid of that is by bringing in a lot more competition. Big up, drop, kick your teacher. Really, really appreciate the support in that regard. And then Jack has gone to the solar eclipse or whatever it's called, which is good to see. But Shawnee, any last thoughts before we let you go, man? Really good call today. Really enjoyed it.
Again, I think it's really just kind of remembering kind of where we are. This is a rebuild. It's not going to be immediate. Again, I think we're seeing pretty good results. No, Ange is not found out. We just haven't quite gotten the system fully down. So again, I think it's the combination of more time with this group of players to really kind of develop this and play at a much higher level, and then more competition in the squad. So again, we'll be there hopefully next year, really kind of competing for trophies.
No, look, and do you know what? It's good. It's just good, Sean, that we're having these conversations now about beefing up the squad rather than having to tear it all down heading into the summer and rebuilding and stuff like that. We're talking about adding to what we've got, which is finally a good place, I would say, to be in. And hopefully we get what we want next season, heading to challenge for trophies, which is what Ange wants.
Hi, come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Shawnee. Come on, you Spurs. Quick call, my man, and we'll see you again soon. Everyone, big up Sean in the comments below. A few people are telling me my screen's not working, but as long as you can hear me, that is all that matters. So we'll keep going and pursuing through that. You don't want to see my ugly mug anyway. But Ellie said, just a girl who loves Spurs, says, this is for Ben and Jerry's Tubs. Are you still looking for that elusive sponsorship from the marketing department? And listen, they should be honored to have you on board, lads. Really, they need to fix up. Look, being brutally honest, you know, they had me as a brand ambassador. You know, I was willing to do it. I'm weak for that chocolate brownie and that cookie dough. Absolutely weak at the knees for it. But, you know, I stopped buying it when they weren't interested in me. You know, I would have done the promo for free for them if I loved it that much. So, you know, I'm going to have to maybe move on to Häagen-Dazs or something like that, go to their rival. Or if you have any good brands out there, good ice cream brands, do recommend them. Your boy does like an obscure flavor of ice cream. So please let me know if you've got anything. As you know, I'm a big boy and I do like my food. But Ellie, you know, I'll probably have to invest that into a praline flavor Häagen-Dazs or something like that. So pick yourself up and really appreciate the support on that, Ellie. Maybe when we get you on, you could recommend an ice cream brand. I know you're a woman of class, you know. So definitely you'll recommend one for me. We also have Al Ben here as a fan base. We need to give Ange and the players time. We are too quick to down one bad game and we need to drop this player and criticize Ange. Do you know what, Al Ben? I completely agree with you. I just think, unfortunately, this is just the nature of football nowadays. I think there is a lot of misconception. I think after games and stuff like that, you know, the day after or right after the game and stuff like that, I think, you know, people are going to be critical of what they've seen on the pitch and stuff like that. But what I'd like to think, in general, when the dust sort of settles and move into the week, you do see people more saying, look, you know, I understand this is a project and stuff like that. And look, to be honest, we ain't sitting here listening to Ange out every week. You know, it's not being plastered everywhere. It's not being done at the stadium like it was under Nuno and Conte and stuff like that. So, you know, probably show that we are in a good place and that the majority of fans are willing to give Ange time. Look, I think it's important to, you know, take the criticism and stuff like that, because how do you know where you need to improve if you're not criticised and stuff like that, you know, or it's being flagged up and maybe brought to your attention and stuff like that. But I would like to think the majority of Spurs fans behind that. Interesting enough, actually, I put out a poll tomorrow across the socials, Twitter, you know, and the YouTube and that, and let people vote and see where they're at. I'd be surprised if it's not 90%, you know, in favour of Ange Postecoglou. But look, like, we just live in a society now, don't we, where you've got everything at the click of a button. So people just want things instantly, you know. Some things in life, you know, I would argue the finer things in life, like some wine and cheese and stuff like that, right? They take a little bit longer to sort of, you know, come to fruition and, you know, reach their full potential and stuff like that. And that's what I would like to think we are under Ange Postecoglou. You know, a good wine being distilled, held back, you know, and stuff like that to get the aging on it and stuff like that. So hopefully that works out, Al Ben. Big yourself up, my man, and really do appreciate the support. But look, we'll bring on, I think, me as the next guest. She's there. Yeah. I think it's Mia. So we'll bring on Mia and we'll let her have her say on this. And then, of course, everything else at Tottenham. But me, how do you keep it?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I managed just to get some food in me because I started feeling a bit weird. I didn't eat enough when I had because I had my 2 tattoos done, Dave. 1 tattoo, 2 tattoos.
Jeez, so, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, and I didn't eat very much. So I think I felt a bit weird because I needed to eat. So I just quickly stuffed something in my mush because I was so hungry and feeling a bit weird.
Unreal. I can't wait to stuff my mush later on. Anyway, let's get on to Al Ben's super chat here. He says, as a fan base, we need to give Ange and the players time. We're too quick to doubt one bad game when we sort of, in other words, you know, just throw our toys out of the pram, you know, and want everyone gone and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that the fans are pretty reactionary. I mean, I don't think Ange is beyond criticism. If he does do something that I don't agree with, like with the substitutions when we're 3-0 down, then I would of course say so.
Yeah,
but I don't throw baby out of the bathwater and say, oh my God, and have a big old meltdown about it, because I know this is early on. Do you know what really frustrates me, actually? I'll tell you what really frustrates me is all these people who are like, if we don't get top 4, that's it. you didn't even predict we were going to get top 4. Only Dermot, I think, predicted top 4 from what I can remember. Only Dermot did, right? So big up to Dermot. But do you know what? I think people, they just, like, you don't even remember that. Like, you don't even remember that that was your expectation. Stop throwing the baby out of the bathwater and getting that so angry about it. So stop being so reactionary, you know?
On top of that, Mia, it does feel like at times we're also kind of telling Ange to do all these things this season as if like he's already had 2 or 3 seasons under his belt as well. Like it's like he's still learning like the Premier League. He is still adjusting to the club and everything else. And we're saying like Ange needs to realize that the number 6 isn't good enough and stuff like that. Well, it's like, well, this is what he has to work with. He's only had 1 season, like, and it's kind of
maybe he does realize, but there's not a transfer window on Infinity Funds.
Nothing you can do right now. There's nothing you can do. Completely agree.
Yeah, the thing is people just they go way over the top and have the biggest meltdowns. And even when we win, they still sit there and be miserable. And I'm like, what are you miserable about? You're not getting the free, but we didn't play in a certain way for a certain amount of time. Listen, man, I don't care. We're getting the points on the board. It's the end of the season. Ange hasn't had enough time yet. Just allow it. Stop being so reactionary.
Speaking of reactionary, what's your reaction to yesterday's game?
I'm not reactionary about it. I think that first half was very disappointing because we started off so well, Dave, and we just let it kind of go. And we did a bit of Frozen. We just let it go after they scored.
Put that down to me. Was there a moment that you can pinpoint or anything where we sort of maybe lost a little bit of belief in what we were doing?
I think it was when we were stupid in letting that go because that was against the run of play. Sorry, the dog's feeling annoying. That was against the run of play, and I think that after that we just looked shook. We just didn't know what to do after that, and we just kept giving the ball away. Oh, it was just doing my head. And then when Maddison did have it, it was going around in circles, or he was going too slow. They were just, I don't know what they were doing with themselves. So yeah, I think after that goal, we just look completely shocked by it, and we just didn't get back into that first half.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. I think they did lose maybe a bit of confidence and belief in, after that goal went in. I think they were probably shell-shocked. I think they're so focused on not letting it happen this time that happened. Probably left them a bit stunned for a little while. But Mia, James Maddison, I mean, is his form becoming concerning or alarming now?
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned. Everyone was saying he had a fairly good game yesterday, but I didn't think he had. I think in the second half he did have an improvement in that game. But that first half, like I say, did you see him? He went round in circles like a fidget spinner. I was like, what are you doing, boy? Like, what are you doing? It was just really frustrating to watch. And he doesn't try. I don't know if anyone else has noticed. When we first, at the beginning of the season, he used to do that little like ballerina tippy toe thing and be a bit cheeky and do all that. But he don't do that anymore. And I think his players do mark him. And I do understand that because players are on him. But he needs to not let getting kicked about bother him. But he does. And I don't like that about James Maddison. I'm going to say I loved him at the beginning of the season. I was praising him because I had doubts about James Maddison. I'm not going to flip-flop, but I do think that he does need to maybe stop letting that get to him so much and just get on with it. Be a little bit stronger. Don't get involved and so, worked up about it because I feel like he does have that temperament a little bit. Like he needs to grow up a little bit sometimes.
Personally, I blame the darts and Luke Littler for his form. Ever since he's got involved with that, he hasn't been a sort of same player. So, the PDC need to do something there with that. That's not right.
And Mia, though, I saw some quotes from James Maddison saying that he knows he's not playing at his best form. He's saying, I don't feel like I'm anywhere near that man of the match player of the month spell of form. It's nice to hear that from him. And so at least we know he's not completely delusional or completely, in his own head, that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He seems to have, some recognition.
Yeah, no, I do think it's good for players to acknowledge it if they know they're not playing well. So then when we say it doesn't seem like we're just picking on a player because obviously even he's acknowledged that he hasn't been nowhere near as good. Like I am finding myself getting really frustrated with him in games. I'm not going to lie. We need to have another solution for James Maddison next season because when he is doing that, we need to haul him off and get someone else on and maybe that would give him a bit of a kick up the bum. That he actually has got somebody there that, you know, we can take you off at any point, Mr. Madison. You know, we will take you off, and that might give him a bit more of a drive to maybe do better.
Do Spurs have the money in the budget for that sort of player, Mia? Because, you know, we're probably looking at a striker or a winger. That's going to be big money. A left back as well, you know, 1 or 2 centre midfielders. Do we have enough money to do all this?
I think we're going to sell some players, Dave. So I should think so. Because if we do sell Lo Celso, if we do sell Hill, we sell Højbjerg. I mean, you know, we have got players that we need to sell. All the players that are on loan, we could sell some of those. Like Joe Roden looks like he's going to go. As well. So Spence possibly as well. So I do think, we can get a bit of money for sure. And there should be enough, there should be a bit of money in the budget anyway. And then on top of that, with players that need to go.
Look, I just hope that we can sell off the majority of the players, you know, in terms of, I'm more concerned about getting the players that clearly are 25, 26 out on loan off the books, you know, before we even let go of the likes of Berg and stuff. But it'd be nice to be able to muster up, you know, a hefty transfer budget, you know, from the players there's on top of what we're already going to.
I mean, I think it don't really matter the order, Dave. The thing is, if a player's more sellable and he gets sold first, so be it. If Højbjerg gets sold because he wants to leave, he's sellable, and we get that money, I don't care what order it is in. Just sell me sell those damn players and get me some in. That's all I care about.
And then last question for me, Mia. I think if I remember correctly, you thought Romero's was a red card earlier on in the season. So what do you think of Danilo's challenge on Lo Celso yesterday?
I think that referee let a lot go. So the whole James Maddison thing, I did look at it a couple of times, and I think he sort of turned around and then sort of like had a bit of like a move out my way, boy, kind of like like a little tap, and he literally tapped him like that, and he was like, "Oh my God, he winded me." He was like really overacting. Do you know what it reminded me of?
If my son done that on the football pitch, I'd pick him up myself and say, "Don't you ever do that again."
Do you know what it reminded me of? Now when you were kids, if you've got brothers and sisters, you'd fake it, wouldn't you? You'd be like, "Oh my God, Mum, he hit me. Oh, they really hurt." You know, I was like with me and Jack, not that I ever did it because he actually was really mean to me, just saying. But he used to, like, if you want to fake it to get your sibling in trouble, that's what it was like to me. It was like it's getting your sibling in trouble. So that wasn't a red card for me. I think that it was really silly if that was a red. However, I think if it was the other way around, I would say the same. That tackle was a red, and I think actually they should have had some second yellows as well. They kicked the ball away, that should have been a second yellow. Asking for VAR, that should have been a second yellow. So I do think he let a lot go.
No, he let a hell of a lot go. Look, Simon Hooper's been pretty good to us this year. I just want the consistency, you know. It seems like if you've got a Spurs crest on, you know, every decision goes against you. It's like, you know, when they look at the VAR room, they look at everything, but the first thing they do is look on the wall, see the red X across the Spurs crest and go, can't give it. You know, it's absolutely embarrassing. But look, hopefully they'll learn from that. They'll probably use that as an example to bring in the blue card system. Actually, probably absolutely disgusting.
Well, actually, I know somebody who's a ref, and he said to me even before they announced that the blue card won't come out, I said blue card, and he said no. So, and he referees and he works closely with the FA, so he obviously knows the ins and outs a bit more than what I do, and he said no. So
they're talking about, you know, people give out about referees and VAR and everything. That's just simplify things. What's blue cards going to do anyway? Enough of that. I don't need another rant today. My heart can't take it.
And also, I'm going to say quickly, Brad Matthews isn't wrong. I could definitely knock Yates over. No doubt about it. 100%. The way he play acts, I could just touch my little finger and he'd probably fall over.
Good point. He goes down easy. You know that.
Yeah,
he goes down easy.
Joe, what it reminds me of. Know when a certain Tanganga told a certain Crystal Palace player he is a certain thing when he was sitting on the floor. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's one of those. I'm not gonna. If you know, innit? You know about what Tanganga shouted at him. So that's what I felt like when I saw him do it.
I miss Tanganga picking up Zaha basically like as if he was a little child. I remember in that game, he basically picked him up by like two arms and just dangled him a bit. What are you going to do?
WrestleMania.
He's got a future in that for sure. Mia, though, please give your channel a plug, and please as well, just everyone go over and support Mia. She has great things to say, just like Brad. She's a regular on these. She makes these fan shows what they are. She has great things to say. She has great opinions. So please show some love to her channel. But Mia, what's coming up over there?
I will be doing my fan channel, my fan calling myself, like the members call in, on Wednesday at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. UK time. It's really good because I get to collect like different people coming on each time. So I think it's really nice to listen to people. Obviously, we're going to discuss the red card because I know some people disagree with me and say that it was a red card for Maddison. So I think that it'd be interesting this week to see what people have to say. And their point of view. Obviously, I do preview for games, I do reviews for games, I do my instant match reaction with Jimbo, which is always really cool. Big up to Jim. So yeah, they're the things that are currently coming up on my channel. If you could please go over and subscribe. I'm not that far away now from 1,300, so I'm only like, I remember 20 something off, 28 off. So
let's get her there. Far. Let's get her there. She deserves it. Just like we said with Brad, somebody that makes these fan shows what they are, I think has also established the fan shows as a place for other people to come on and have their say, thanks to the time you've given up, Mia, to have these chats with us. Good luck with the rest of your evening. Hopefully you heal well and get some good food into you.
Yeah, I'm going to eat some more because I need to eat. And normally, to be fair, my tattoos do normally heal quite quick because I've had quite a few now, haven't I? So I'm used to it really, what happens. And I want to get 2 done because I always want at least 5. So I've always got more in mind that I want.
Well, you probably got higher pain tolerance than Dave or I do. I think that's clearly the case. And you probably have a better chance of knocking Yates over than maybe Dave or I do as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I would easily. I just, like I say, little barge. I'm only little, wouldn't I? But I still just barge him out of the way.
Just blow on him. He'll probably go down. Yeah.
I said just like poke him like that. Just one little like digging him, probably like, oh my God.
10 ways to take down Yates. Mia, appreciate you. Thanks for making the fan shows
Thanks for having me on. Make sure you smash the like button for Jack and Dave, otherwise known as Kylie and Jason.
The easy other nicknames. Big up, Mia. Appreciate you. Have a good rest of your week.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Alrighty. Bye. Everybody, please show again some love to Spurs Between the Lines. Like I said, with Brad Matthews, a regular of this channel that does deserve some love, does deserve some support on her own channel. I'm having a bit of a tough one here. Rakdos says it's okay. Okay, so I think I will go away with it. Mia is going to skip the queue a little bit, thanks to the very lovely generosity of I think it's Teslim, Rakdos, Alan, and DJ AK. So to you guys, I just want to say massive thank you. Don't need to do that. Very generous of you guys. But we're going to bring on Ellie. She's going to come on and have her say the one and only Queen Højbjerg.
Yes, hey, Ellie. That's right. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Were you blessed to see all the love for Højbjerg on Twitter?
Yeah, I like it. Obviously, it's some fans are a bit turncoat because they're like 1 week several weeks they're criticising him, and then suddenly they've all come out of the woodwork and they're Højbjerg lovers. I don't mind, you know. He deserves a lot of praise for what he's done for our club, you know, and you know he's a Champions League winner as well with Bayern Munich. He actually won a medal, so he can. You know what? He's going to leave our club at the end of the season. It looks that way. But if he did stay, I would love it. I would absolutely love it because I think he's the type of player that I like. You know, he's full of blood and thunder. You know, he battles hard. He's an honest player. Not the most technical, but you know, Henderson at Liverpool wasn't the most technical. Look how many medals he's got in his locker, you know. But sometimes you just got to let it slide because some of the criticism is unfair. I must admit, but you know, like I said to Kate this afternoon on our show, right? So he does about 10, 15 things good, and then he'll do that back pass. And I said, I had my head in my hands because I was thinking I'm going to get it now because if they score, right, and even my husband Theo, he goes, oh my God, hell.
He tests your loyalty, he tests your love, doesn't he, Højbjerg? He doesn't make it easy on you.
Yeah, because Bobby Kane
his new hairstyle, Ellie. There's a certain.
Sorry, Oh, do I like his new hairstyle? Yeah, it's not bad. It's different, isn't it? It's quite curly and quite bulbous, isn't it? I think he wants to rival Bobby K's boys. Yeah, he's all right.
He had a good impact though yesterday.
Say that again.
I think he had a really good impact yesterday. What I like about Højbjerg when he comes on, there's no, he doesn't take 20 touches. He just does it simply. one touch, bang, moving on. I like that sort of player in the midfield at times.
Yeah, because like a lot of people would say he puts his foot on the ball and he takes too long and he's a bit slow and cumbersome. But the thing is, he's adapted quite well to handball, I believe. That's my opinion. Because like he's not used to moving the ball quickly. Like when he was playing with Bentancur and even under Jose's first season, which you very kindly remembered, Jack, I heard there, right? So in that system, he was there as a destroyer, a spoiler under Jose. And then when Conte came in and he was in the two-man midfield, he played a more sophisticated role. He was very disciplined with Benny sort of doing all the crafty work and he was doing all the back work. But they worked so well and their communication, if nobody notices that, they must be blind or whatever, because they really do talk to one another and they really gel together really well. And I'm telling you, if he played them from the start for the rest of the season, I, for one, wouldn't be unhappy because they have got a very good understanding of each other's play. And what we've seen from Basuma in particular and Maddison dropping off, I don't really think they deserve a start in my book. I know Maddison's got the minerals, he's got the swagger, but he's not producing. Yeah, and like you say, Dave, he's been off for quite a while now. And even in yesterday's game, he picked up a little bit in the second half, like Mia mentioned, but not enough to, for me, he's not doing enough, you know.
Would you start Bentancur ahead of him in the next game?
I would. I really would. Do you know why? Because he's getting his fitness back and he's getting his mojo back. Yeah. And you can see, he's improving with every game. And you need to give players game time. I know they brought him back too early. Yeah. They should have really rested him a little bit more, right? And given him more time to recover. But now he's in the thick of the action. We need that type of player to drive us forward, and also the experience, Dave and Jack. It really does count. And you've seen with teams like Chelsea, they've got all the minerals, right? They've got lots of talented footballers, but they're not gelling because they're inexperienced. They need that experience behind them to make them a proper team. And I sort of look at other people criticising Chelsea and criticising Poch, and I saw that early days with Poch with us as well. But you've got to allow a manager and the team to come together and Angie's philosophy on football to really work. Like he said, he needs a remote control sometimes. He really does, because they get out of position and they're not disciplined within his system, So I just feel there's room for improvement, but I think we're slowly in spits and spats. It's not enough for the whole of the game, like 15 minutes the first half, we're on fire, knocking it about, a bit of swagger about us, and then we drop off. Yeah?
Why though? Why? Because it annoys me. It's frustrating because I'm maybe a bit old school here, but I'm of the opinion, when you have possession like that against teams, especially in the Premier League, if you don't use that possession to your advantage and bang on the door and try and score goals, eventually you're going to get caught at the other end. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, do you know what? It's inexperience, Dave. That's why I was really glad that he brought on Højbjerg and Bentancur and even Lo Celso, because however bad he is and however rubbish he's done at our club in terms of producing stuff for us, he's got that little bit of shithousery, he's got a little bit about himself, and he can affect games that way, right? But Bentancur and Højbjerg, I think they changed the game for us. But the drop-off is significant. It's not a little drop-off. It's a big drop-off. And we've got to get that right, because better teams than Nottingham Forest will beat us.
Yeah.
And we've seen that already this season. Yeah.
Do you think it could be an air of arrogance here or complacency? Because when you look at us against the big teams this season, we've done a lot better. Now, it could be as well that they don't come against us and sit low block like other teams. But, you know, it seems like we seem to raise our game for the bigger games. And they always say in football, you don't need anyone to give you a team talk heading into them games, because you know you're on telly. You know, everyone wants to perform and stuff like that. Could it just be a case against teams like this we just become complacent?
Yeah, I think so. It's a bit of arrogance as well. They think, oh, they're a pushover. They're only Nottingham Forest. But the previous week, they'd come back from behind and beaten the team 4-3, I believe. So you've got to watch out for these teams. We saw it against Fulham, David Jack, where we were complacent. We got on that pitch and we never done any real running to affect the game and get our game going. Rather, we let them dictate to us. Although we did have the ball against Fulham, but we were ineffective because our passing was pretty dire, you know. And you've got to go every single match. If you want to be top dog in this league, you've got to go on that pitch every single match and affect it. And your better players, the ones who can bring out the minerals and change games with a beautiful pass or a beautiful goal or a beautiful assist, that's what gets you over the line. And I'll tell you what, we have got players in our teams that does that. Sorry, like we got Van de Ven and Porro. They were fantastic yesterday. They ran their socks off, right? And the goal
was better.
I didn't agree with the goal for Sean, what he said. Not digging him out at all, but I thought Van de Ven, he should have closed up quicker. But Udogie, what was he doing, lads? He was not even trying, right? He let him go past him, and then he didn't even run back to help. Yeah. Now, if I'm the manager of that team, I say I don't want to see that again.
Yeah.
You do that again.
Problem is we've no one to drop him for.
That's the thing. He's comfortable, isn't he? So he's thinking, I won't trot back. I'll let him go. He doesn't obviously want them to score, but you've got to bust your gut for your team. You see, Man City, Pep wouldn't allow that, right? Yeah. So he's got to do a team talk. If I see that again, boy, I'm going to drop you and bring in a youngster. I don't care who you are, right? You're going on the bench, because I thought that was so irresponsible. And I love Udogie. I think he's a fabulous footballer, you know, and he brings so much spice to our team, you know, and he's fantastic at pressing. I was very disappointed in him because I expect more, you know.
No, I think we look, sometimes, you know, footballers can cheat. Like if I'm a Doge, you know, and I've got Van de Ven behind me, right? There are times I'd be like, I'll save some energy this time, you know, Van de Ven will cover me. And they're the times where you get caught out when you don't start doing it. I just think, you know, a bit more competition there, you know, probably helps them massively. Yeah. Probably gets them to do that on a more consistent basis for sure. Jack, anything you want to ask me?
Yeah.
Just on Werner, Ellie, everybody's calling it it's a no-brainer. Everybody keeps calling it. Do you think it is a no-brainer? Like, I can understand why people want Werner, but I just don't know if the term no-brainer is really the way that I feel about it. I think there is room for some debate.
Yeah, there's room for debate. I mean, I called him out when he was going behind the player and not busting his gut to get in front of his defender. Because Johnson done 2 really good balls and he just stood behind his defender static. If you want to score, you get in front of your defender, or you lose your marker at the back post. So when the cross is coming in, the person crossing can see you're making that run and he'll make a different ball. You see? So he's got to be clever. The thing is, I am warming to him more because I just think he's finishing his pants. I don't think he's got the know-how to score goals like other, because he's not a striker really as such. He's more of a winger, all right? But having said that, he has played in the striker's role before, right? So he should really know by now how to shoot the ball in the net. And he's had 2 tap-ins really, And the rest, I think he's missed 19 big chances. That's a lot, right? And I said to somebody just recently, that wins you games. If they go in, we're comfortable, you know, and we're not stretching ourselves and we're not panicking or squeaky bum time at the end of games, you know, because I hate squeaky bum time. It's horrible. That's why I like the 2-cushion lead that we had. Yeah, because if you concede late, at least you've got 1 goal advantage. But if it's 2-1 and you concede, you know, it's hard. But I sort of like him, but there's parts of his game that are really, really need to improve.
I think he's that sort of player, though, Ellie. I think he's not always so pleasing on the eye, you know, Timo Werner. He has a sort of clunkiness to him and kind of an awkwardness to him about it. Then again, though, he's effective, right? That's what people keep saying. He's effective. He does what he's supposed to.
He does. Like we had Perisic before, didn't we? And I think he played 39 games and he got 9 assists in those 39 games or something similar to that. So if he can do what Perisic does, and do you know what? He's not as accomplished as Perisic as a footballer in terms of his technicality. But having said that, I think we could get better. I really do. And I've heard fans say if we settle for Werner, we're setting for mediocrity. And part of me think that's true, and part of me wants to give him a chance because I've got a good heart, right? Like if I give Højbjerg a chance, and everybody's calling him pants, not everybody, but a lot of our fans don't warm to Højbjerg, right? And I actually love. So I want to give him a chance and give him the benefit of the doubt. The more we've only got 7 games left, so in those 7 games, it's not up to me. Spurs will decide. The ball.
I think they've already decided, to be brutally honest.
And whether Postecoglou wants him, you see, he might say to the board, "Nah, he's not for me," you know. But at the end of the day, I have warmed to him a lot more. I would say I'm 60% no, 40% yes. That's all I can put it as a percentage.
Well, Ellie, it's going to be a time where you and I, and as well as Dave, are going to have to find a Højbjerg replacement of somebody in this team that we stick up for, despite maybe the divisiveness of the player, and maybe Timo might be that one to replace Højbjerg for you as your new protector and fan club member of. Anything that you would like to plug from Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs? I know that's where you show a lot of faith and love too.
Just a Girl Loves Spurs. What a fantastic channel with Kate and Jimbo, and we have Chang and Mia joining the crew. Yeah, so it's a fantastic show, full of really good content, lots of fun and laughter. We have a good crack over there. It's not an Irish crack, but it's as near as to an Irish crack that you can dig.
It's close, though. It's close.
Right, but also I'd love to mention, right, I've written to Spurs for the Spurs ladies game, and Ben Kaufman is working on it for me as well. I want to interview some Spurs ladies after the match, and they've written back to me and said, yeah, but where will it, they want to know what exposure we're going to give the girls. So I've contacted Ben, and he's doing some background work for me to try and make something happen. But it's a secret at the moment, so I'm not going to let it out. And also, really good news, not for Ash, but Ash she's moved to a house. Well, she's moving to a house in the countryside in India, and there's not going to be any internet for quite a while until she sets it all up and gets some sort of generator. I don't know how it works, but she's let us all know. So I'm taking Ash's place, and I'm hosting El Tel Cockerel and Talk and Ball, whichever show we're going to be on, with myself and Chang on Wednesdays and Fridays. So look out for that, guys, because it's going to be one hell of a show. And I love Chang. He's a
nice guy.
Fan. What a lovely guy. Yeah. You know, and it'll be a pleasure to share the screen with him, not just on Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs, but on El Tel Cockerel and Talk and Ball. Also, I want to big up, obviously, the big boy, Bobby Kay and Kuva. Fantastic. And my boy, Jacob, on United Spurs of America. Fantastic. I love them all. And obviously, Leo Leo, he's coming over for the North London derby, and I'm going to take him out on London town and show him the works. And I'm having a big party at my house as well for the North London derby. So everybody's welcome. Whoever's coming over, right? Everybody's welcome for a Greek feast at my home.
Usually they have to bring a Greek dish of their own, though, Ellie. So maybe they'll have to learn some good cooking.
They can bring a bottle because I'll make the food.
Bring a bottle of something Greek. Bring a bottle.
If I fly in time when I'm there, or you have to put on door, Ellie.
I'm telling you, Dave, if you don't come, I'll be very disappointed.
Honestly, it all depends what time I get, what time I end up landing, and how long it takes me. Because I think I'm flying into Heathrow. So it all depends how long it takes me to get from Heathrow up there. But like I said, I will do my best, It'd be good to meet a lot of people there and finally taste the cooking, So that'll be a good plus. I'll come with my
stocked up the fridge with Ben and Jerry's as well, the freezer. So you have to come.
That could be my breakfast. I mean, I definitely couldn't turn that down.
I've made my plea now. I've got to go. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Let's support these lads, right? Because they are fantastic.
Appreciate it. Next time you come on, I want to see the side tap.
Yeah, the Steve Perriman, you see?
Yeah. Oh, it is nice.
Come on, you Spurs.
Nice.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Ellie.
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. Big up, Ellie. Appreciate you.
Arsenal game is going to be huge, by the way. All we got to do is try and take a point off them and, stop them from winning the league. We could have a huge day where that league goes, which would be absolutely huge. Hopefully, we stop Arsenal winning that day because I do believe I'm sitting beside their fans. So you might even catch a boy on BT or Sky, whoever's showing it, giving them a bit of jit. That'd be brilliant. We've got a super chat here from just a guy who loves Spurs. Jacko says, save Turbo. Timo, sign him soon as possible. Come on, you Spurs, Timo.
Save Turbo Timo. Listen, Jim, I think I started the initial, I wouldn't say I'm now Timo's biggest fan, like a lot of other people seem to be. They kind of have replaced me. I just think as sort of the resident Bundesliga, I wouldn't say expert, but, the resident Bundesliga kind of person here on this channel, I did, kind of have, some context to give about Timo Werner when we did sign him. I think I wasn't as thrilled about it as others were, but I also wasn't as skeptical, I think, as others were too, because I had seen, the Timo Werner of a few seasons at Leipzig. It wasn't just one season. It was a few seasons where that guy legitimately was one of the top scorers in Europe, not just the Bundesliga, in Europe. And he had a very unique role as sort of this second striker, playing alongside guys like Yusuf Poulsen. And I really liked that time of Timo Werner. He was a fun player to watch. I just do think he always was more of a particular system type of player. You can play to his strengths. You can get the best out of him. By no means is he a complete player. Is he a guy that can, win you games, I think, by himself? And that's what made it kind of a confusing signing for me. But I think he's come in and he's actually weirdly proved even myself wrong, a few others wrong, and has just given us something to talk about, which is the best he can possibly do. And also just in the context of a free transfer, or at least a loan, he's been probably one of the best loans that we've had in a long time, temporary loans. His versus Danjuma's night and day when it comes to temporary loan spells. So credit to Werner for just doing what he has he's done what he was supposed to do, I think, when being brought in here to fill in for Sonny and fill in for other players. I think he's done his job so far.
You know what? I had my preconceived sort of thoughts on him before he came here. I still subscribe to some of them. However, he's had a lot better impact than what I thought he would. So where I'm at, Jim, is actually that weekend where we have no game because Man City are in the FA Cup semi-final, I'll actually sit back, watch all the games Timo's played. I'll come back to it with my fresh perspective on it. Yeah, Timo weekend, Turbo weekend. I'll sit there with my light up runners on and everything. It'll be a great day out for Dave. But big up, Jim. But like I said, I'll have to look at it and sort of reassess. I am a guy who doesn't mind changing my opinions and sitting there with egg on my face as long as it's right for Tom Hotspur. So big up, Jimbo. Good to see you and Kate in the house. Really appreciate the support. Just quickly, we've got an Arsenal fan. TR says, you ain't doing shit. You wait and see, my man. We will stop you from winning the title. But instead of being big in the comments, I'll be at the game if you're there. Make yourself known. But look, let's keep it moving. Where are we to next, Jacko?
Yes, we are now on to DJ AK, who's been waiting very patiently. And I just want to say again, thank you to DJ, thank you to Teslim, thank you to Rakdos and Charlie for being very patient, giving up also your time for Ellie as well, who we love to talk to, but she wanted to skip ahead. And thank you to you guys for allowing her to do that. So let's speak to DJ now. Very generous of you guys. Big up, DJ.
Come on, DJ AK. Let's get him on. That's what he has to say. Big up, DJ.
How's it going, lads?
Good to see you, man.
Not too bad.
I won't be on too long because I know you got quite a few people in the back there.
No, you got your time, man. You should take your whole time.
It's your time, man.
Still good. I thought I'd pop on and say hello to Jack as I didn't get a chance last time. So, you know, here I am. I've got another old top on.
Oh, that looks
good.
That
one. Oh, the Adidas ones. I love the Adidas jerseys, my man. Have you got any of the yellow Adidas ones?
I know you're after one of those, Dave. I had a look and I haven't got one, unfortunately. So,
do you know that must be brand spanking new? That's very white, lad, or else you're using the white washing powder. You're making me your tips.
No. It's just I don't wear it that often. So,
good man.
Fair.
You got to preserve it. You got to keep it. Yeah, got to keep it pristine. Well, DJ, we've been talking about Turbo Timo. Do you have any, maybe DJ sets, for him in the future? What's been on your mind with Timo Werner? Like, what do you think of him?
Put on the Burner Turner, yeah. Put on some Tina Turner for Timo Werner.
Oh my Lord! Have you been wanting to do a Timo on the dance floor so far? Have you been wanting to do it?
Seem like Tina Turner. I'll take him. We'll sign him.
Just where were you with him? Were you skeptical when he first came? Did you always want him to prove people wrong? How did you feel about him, and how do you feel about him now?
Personally, I don't think he's a bad player. Obviously, his goal contributions isn't that great, but he just offers something a little bit different, And for a short term, as an impact player, I don't think he's that bad, He just, I just wish he could score a few more goals. If he could go back to, like you say, the old days, we'd have a player on our hands. But I don't know whether it's confidence or he just seems to, I don't know. He suffers with, I don't know. I'll see him you see these training videos and he bangs them in the corners and he goes top bins and you're thinking, why can't he do that in a game?
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, even the worst players do that. Even the worst strikers do that in training. I've heard stories and, this guy would be a Baron Porter in the game. And they're like, well, in training, it's a different story, I think it's probably to do with pressure and the 60,000 people watching, right?
It might have something to do with that, yeah. It might have to do with that. I mean,
maybe you could give us some performance tips.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you should take some tips off of Van der Ven. I mean, what a strike that was. And a lefty as well. He's a left footer, so I'm all for the lefties. I'm a left footer myself, so yeah. And if you missed that, well, I'm surprised you might have seen an earlier eclipse because if that hadn't have hit the net, that was going skywards, and that would have blocked the sun as well. The speed it was going. So,
That's what I said during the watch line, DJ. I think the Royal Air Force had to probably take it down, take down the ball from it was looking like a danger, in the orbit.
Yeah.
What you said about Timo, sort of, I think what you're looking for is the fact that Timo, he's just not the prettiest player to watch. He doesn't make things look totally natural, right? It can look a bit awkward, even though the ball bundles in the back of the net. That's kind of the point. It kind of seems to bundle into the back of the net. He's that type of player. It's not like when Ellie mentioned Perisic as also being an effective left winger. It's like, well, those guys, when you watch them, are almost night and day. Like Perisic was so smooth in the way that he operates and so simple, but yet Werner's very effective as well, but it's just not the same type of player. And I think that's what makes people a bit awkward with him, is that he's an awkward player.
Yeah, I mean, you could go back to even Aaron Lennon, the man had the pace, and he had a bit of trickery and stuff. And he seemed to find the net a little bit here and there, I just think, he just needs to get on the training ground and find a bit more confidence in himself. It's got to be there somewhere. He had it before. So why can't he find that again?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, to help him.
I think with Timo, you know, he's at an awkward stage in his career, though, isn't he? Isn't he, DJ? Though, when you look at it, you know what, he left the Premier League. He's 27, 28 now. He's sort of having to rediscover himself. No one really looks at him as a striker anymore. So he's having to find a new position where he can sort of fit in. And look, maybe it might take time for him to adjust to this wing. Maybe he could be better than, you know, what a lot of us maybe originally think and stuff like that. Look, it'd be interesting.
I mean, for the price. I mean, what are they asking for? 14 million? Or
I don't think it's that much.
Is he going to be worth? Is it worth just having him as a squad player? I mean, I don't know.
Do you know what it is for me, DJ? It's like, I don't want him to be signed as our number one winger. You know, I don't want if he's being brought in. Gill and people like that are being moved on who aren't even contributing, don't even make the bench and stuff. You know, if they're moved on, he's brought in as a squad player and we bring others in to compete, I'm okay with that. But if we're hinging our hopes on Timo Werner to fire us to a league title next season, along with Johnson and Son, and think that's a good enough front three, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, like I say, I think as a squad player, he's fine. But as your main winger, I would say no. You know, there's got to be better guys out there. You know, I totally agree with that. You know, I think you know, if he's a squad player, it's fine. But to bring in, I mean, there's no one behind him, is there, at the minute? That's probably why Postecoglou keeps picking him every week, because there's no one behind him to take his place. So
we mentioned that with Udogie, right? With the goal that we conceded, Ellie was critical of him for not tracking back hard enough. Did you agree with what she had to say about that? And she said the reason he might not have tracked back hard is no one's going to replace him at halftime. No one's going to come on for him. There's no depth there. Yeah,
I think so. I think some of these players, they just, you know, if they know they haven't got competition, then they just, you know what I mean? There's you need people behind you to push you, you know. In my mind, you know, you need someone who's going to be like, right, if you have a bad game, I'm taking your place. Yeah. So it keeps them on their toes, you know. And with Udogie, I was disappointed with the way the ball went past him. I know it was passed around him, but he just sort of shook his head and just let the player carry on running. You think you got to bust your gut to get back there, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Competitions, I don't know. Yeah, I think it probably.
I wonder is Udogie maybe becoming a little bit tired, you know, because in fairness, every time the guy's fit, he's been selected. He hasn't had any rest. We don't really have a proper backup left back, you know, to be able to give him a rest. And I would argue maybe the last 3-4 games since that Fulham game, we haven't quite seen the same Udogie, especially defensively. I'm used to watching that guy outpace people, outmuscle them and stuff like that. But recently, over the last 3-4 games, they seem to be getting a bit more joy down that left-hand side than what they originally were.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he has played a lot of football, hasn't he? You know, and I know he's young and stuff, but you know, there's a lot of pressure on him. But also, like, we need, again, like we were saying before, like I said to you last week, you know, Ange is just started in his managing Tottenham, and he's on a rebuild at the minute, and you know, he's probably looking for players and more players like that, you know, and so. Like I say, we'll come to the summer. Let's see what sort of players he's going to bring in, you know, and it's only going to help the team more, you know. Also, if you can give Udogie a few games off, you know, it might freshen him up a bit, you know.
Yeah. Totally. No, look, you know, I've no doubt doing like Udogie's playing through pain and little niggles and stuff like that. Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No, I just completely agree with what DJ was saying there. I think it had to do with, I think he needs that rest. Like, can I really be that mad at him for perhaps giving up a little bit in that moment? Because I think if you were to play every single game at this sort of high tempo and high intensity, it's just hard sometimes. I think for the 50,000th time that you find yourself tracking back and running back after players, maybe one of those moments you're just like, I don't really feel it this time, coach. And that is the danger there, though, is that you don't blame Udogie because he's played every minute, but also you can't allow that to happen at the same time, because then that's the reason we conceded. So you need that backup for a reason, because mistakes then by players will feel like it's not the biggest deal in the world, because if they're the only guy that, you know, that's really there in that position that's actually suitable, the mistakes they make, they won't think are that costly because they're the only guy that can play there.
Also, as well, you're playing expansive football. You know, they've got they're you know, high fast running. You know, it's a sprint every time. you know, and that's going to take its toll after a while. You know, even though, like, again, you know, I know they're young and that, but you know, you're playing a high line like that. The ball comes over the top. They've got to sprint back. You know, and that can cause its own problem. You know, on the body. So
totally.
They're running long distances, aren't they? You know, instead of short bursts, it's extremely longer distances than maybe what the average player is used to running and stuff like that. So definitely would take its toll for sure. I want to ask you a bit about Kulu, my man. I mean, again, another opportunity to come off the bench late in the game, provide an easy assist. And again, you know, for me, it's like you look at Dane Scarlett, went to play it, then thought about not playing it, and then by the time he went to play it, you know, it was closed down and stuff like that. What do you think is going on with Kulu? Because being brutally honest, I think personally the guy is going through a bit of a down period. You know, I think you know, everyone goes he's not suited to right wing. I think if he had a general and not a proper striker in the box to sort of aim at and stuff, I think you would see a lot more out of him. But I keep getting messages after games, people going, Dave, stop stop believing in Kulu. He's fucking useless, all this sort of jazz. So I mean, where are you at when it comes to Kulu?
Yeah, I think he really has dropped off. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. You know, he again, maybe a lot of teams have sort of sussed him out. You know, he always wants to come cut inside all the time. You know, you go on the way and then he wants to cut inside. And I think a lot of these other teams now are starting to sort of pick him off. You know, maybe sort of change it up a little bit. Yeah, it's just really weird. I mean, I totally agree. I think he's just dropped off. I'm not sure why.
Kulu's camp, what would you say to him to try and get him back?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. Again, is it because he's played a lot of games? I'm not sure. Or is it competition? He needs some more competition for him. A lot of these players, I think, you know, our first 11, you know, is our first 11. It's very, you know, Ange seems to sort of, I know he switched it up yesterday, I know he switched it up yesterday, and it did make a bit of a difference, you know. But I just think, there's going to be a few teething problems, you know. It's going to take a bit. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, you know. Maybe another season, you know, to get a few more bodies in there and give these other guys a bit of a kick up the arse, you know. Because at the minute, I think they're so used to just thinking, oh, well, I'm going to get picked, you know. Yeah. Maybe it's a bit of that, you know. So yeah.
I definitely think there is that. I definitely think there is that bit, you know, when you don't have anyone chasing down your spot, there does come that complacency. And, you know, you don't need to do things right during the week to get yourself right for the weekend because you know you're going to play anyway. So, you know, I think that is probably a big part of our problem this season.
Let's not mention Moon Boots, but he's a classic case, wasn't it?
Exactly. And speaking of Moon Boots, I see Gary Neville, the old app, has done an interview with him that is released this evening. So I will not be watching that. So that's something I don't have to waste my time with this evening. Thank God for that. And hopefully they pull this documentary down on Spurs Play sometime soon. Because being brutally honest, I don't care about his farm. And if he paid more attention to his career at Tottenham, he probably would have got my support. But anyway, DJ, last person I want to ask you about, and then I think we have something start here from. I have to let it out every once in a while. It makes me feel better. But I have one more question for you before we get on to Brad Matthews' question for you. Bentancur, should he start the next game at Newcastle?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
I just think he's just starting to find a bit of form again now. I think he's actually trusting his body a bit more now. You know, that injury he had, and then he had the setback as well. We won't mention Mr. Cash, but yeah. But it's got to affect him. You know, them sort of things have got to. You think how long he was out for, and then that happens to him. You know, so I think I think just slowly now, just finding his feet, just for the right time, really, so we can smash Arsenal and smash Chelsea. So, you know, that would be lovely if he had if we could get him back on to the form he was in before, then he's one hell of a player, you know.
It'd be a huge asset for them games. Huge asset.
Oh, he would be, yeah. I mean, Basuma, he's been okay, but again, his form dipped a little bit, you know. But I think I would pick Bentancur over him. And I would play Sarr because Sarr's got the pace. I think Sarr is he's an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like a gazelle, isn't he? He just, but he has like 2 or 3 strides and he's up the other end of the pitch.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's a relentless energy too, is the way I would describe it. Like, he's not really somebody who you ever see walking very much. It feels like Pop Montessar, not one of those sort of players who you see taking a break. He's
very much, I don't want to mention those horrible team up the road, but he reminds me a little bit like Patrick Vieira in the way that he sort of he runs and
covers ground. And
if he can get to that, even to that level, it'd be a massive asset for us. I just love his energy, and he's only young, isn't he? So he's still got plenty of time in his hands. So
yeah, and you know what I like most about him, from what I gather and what I hear, I don't think he's got a footballer's ego whatsoever. He's actually supposed to be very down to earth, so that will serve him long, well in the long run. But Alan, Brad Matthews has a very important question here. Jack, do you want to answer it? Ask it.
He says, "Where do you DJ at DJ AK, and what sort of music have you been DJing?"
Well, I don't actually DJ that much anymore. But I used to DJ in clubs locally to me, and done the odd parties here and there. But I am actually thinking about starting up a Twitch account. So maybe I'll get my decks set up, and maybe if I can get a link or whatever, then I'll let you guys know. But basically, my dad used to be, he was like a mobile DJ. So he'd do all your weddings, your parties, and all this sort of and all that sort of stuff. So he played all the cheesy stuff. But I got into mixing really at an early age. I started off with electro and hip hop back in the day. And I actually had a tape-to-tape deck. And what I used to do was record the shows. And then after the show was finished, I'd get a blank tape and I'd cut out all the DJs in the background and just have the music all mixed together for all the break dancers.
Wow.
And I used to sell mixtapes at school, and then I just sort of carried on from there. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I wish Lazy 8, maybe he might be listening if he's at work or something, but Lazy 8, I know, would also be very interested in kind of your DJ expertise, or at least your experiences as well. He's very much into it.
Got a very large selection of different types of music, but my sort of music is sort of house and all that sort of stuff, I've got drum and bass, I've got electro, hip hop, trance, you name it. I've got most of it. So
good man.
I sound like my type of DJ, and I absolutely love that. But please, if you do get the Twitch account up and running and you do go to do a set, I mean, look, I'm always like, I like dancing around in my kitchen and stuff, singing into the room and stuff like that. So please link us up there, and I'll definitely
we'll
have a listen in.
Yeah, no worries. Well, maybe you get your MC going there, Dave.
Exactly, MC Dave. We'll bring it back.
I have a few little rhymes in the locker. I just gotta perfect them before I come out and start doing it publicly. But who knows? You might get DJ AK and MC Dave.
Yeah, we could have a little collab, mate. Don't worry about that.
Love it.
Big up, DJ. Thank you for your time this evening, my man.
Great call-in, by the way. Thanks for your patience too, DJ. Thank you for your patience. Great call-in.
It's no problem at all. And good to actually speak to you as well, Jack.
Good to meet you finally, DJ. We'll see you next time, sir.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Good man.
Big up.
See that, guys.
See ya.
See you, man.
Have a good night. Great call-in.
No more people are popping up with these Adidas jerseys, Jack. I'm getting concerned that there's a sale on and no one's telling me where it is. But absolutely great call-in. He's a good guy, DJ. He looks fun, doesn't he? On the DJ.
He was a lot of fun. I liked his opinions as well, just about football, but he just seems like a really nice guy, actually. Like somebody who you would, if you were sat next to, at the pub or something watching Spurs, it just seems like a good guy just to be next to, kind of for the game and everything. And also maybe he's buying up all the rest of the Adidas kits, Dave, so he could be the last ones onto them, because they are precious. They are definitely great looking kits there.
All I'm saying, it's too white not to be bought from somewhere, over the last few weeks.
It looks too recent.
He's keeping it secret. He doesn't want me getting my hands on them. I'm only messing. But look, let's keep this moving. Where are we off to next? I believe we've got Charlie,
Tess Slim, and then Alan, and then Paul. And I think those are the last four. If you have been saving the link, everybody, do hit it now. It just gives us a bit of an idea if there's still anybody left that do want to come on. But I think these are the last 4 of this evening. Really do appreciate so many of you once again that have come on and want to have your say. And these are also some people that are new as well, which I appreciate as well to talk to some new
And
people.
what I also just quickly say, everybody, throw your questions in for these guys. Let's drag the best out of them because they have shown great patience and waited quite long, to come on and have their say. So let's engage with them, get their questions in for them. But let's start. Let's get on. Charlie, you thumbs up if you're ready, my man. Let's get him on. Big up, Charlie. How you keeping?
Hey, Charlie.
Good evening and good afternoon, guys. How are you doing?
Doing okay, sir.
Good
to see
you. Where are you from?
Holland. I'm actually from Holland.
Whoa. Oh, nice. Whereabouts?
Haarlem, next to Amsterdam, but it's close. It's really close to Amsterdam.
Very
Great
interesting.
Spot. Great spot.
You have terrific English, I must say. At first, I thought you were British for a second there.
Yeah, my mum's English.
Oh, okay. Very, very nice. Yeah. How did you get into supporting Spurs?
Well, just the first game I ever watched was a Spurs game. And then, you just become one with the club and you just love it and you just watch it every day. And now I'm here. Now just loving it, enjoying it.
Good man. Good man.
Speaking of Dutch, Mickey van der Ven, I mean, what a goal at the weekend. What do you make of his debut season in the Premier League? Did you see it coming?
I didn't actually see it coming. I thought he'd have a bit of a mid-season. I think he wouldn't have that good of a start. I think he outperformed everybody's expectations. Nobody ever thought he would do that good, and he just did amazing. Really, the goals he scored, the things he's done for the club, the situations he's helped us get out of, the sticky situations. It's crazy. I mean, like without him, we would have not been 4th this season. We would have been like 6th or 7th.
Mm-hmm. He's a bit like a Vicario, where he has been just a revelation and automatically one of the best players in the Premier League. Like not even just one of the best center back Spurs have ever had. He's solidified himself as one of the best in the Premier League in his first season. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. The same with Vicario. Nobody expected him to be so great for us. I mean, like the talent spotting here is just out of this world this season.
And even you, as a Dutch person, you even didn't see like Van de Ven like being that crazy good this quickly. So clearly, it was amazing talent identification. Where do you kind of stand on the recent performances, Charlie? Do you feel like Spurs have a strong chance of finishing in Champions League? And are you delighted with this season so far? Is this also like well above your expectations where Spurs are this season?
Yeah, I thought we'd end up 10th, but we're 4th now. And I feel like we're great against the attacking teams, against like the high-paced teams. But when we play against the low-block teams, I feel like we just need a change because it never works. We against the big 6, we've been playing amazing. We're top with Arsenal over points against them. But the mid-table teams, like the low blocks, like the Lutons, all that stuff, it's always harder than it should be because they're not that good, really. We're way better. We should outperform them in every way, but our system just doesn't work in favor against them.
What do you think we're not doing well enough breaking them down? Like, what do you think that you would suggest that? Because obviously you see sometimes teams like Ajax, teams like Feyenoord, come up against low block sides, I'd imagine, or at least teams that are inferior to them, and they probably find a way past it. What do you think Spurs could be doing better, do you think, in breaking down these low blocks?
Well, I think especially just not even the breaking down, even more like defensive sustainability, because it's a lot of the breakaways, a lot of like the run-ins, a lot of like the sloppy goals. And that's why I don't really enjoy having Højbjerg in the middle, because some of his passes are just so dangerous. And sometimes he just gives away the ball in such dangerous areas that I just don't feel that good with him. But breaking him down, I feel like we need like an Eze. I think an Eze really could do something, or like a really good attacker. But because I think Johnson is going to do it for us in the near future, but not yet. I think we need something for now, not for the near future. You know what I mean?
I really agree with that. Actually, it's also nice of you to bring up, not just going forward. Like you think you could even help ourselves out by not getting countered as dangerously as some teams have. That's a good point. Game manage it a bit more. I just feel like Spurs, like you said, there probably just need an extra quality attacker in the forward line. It does feel like we're a bit stagnant, a bit stale sometimes when the ball does get to our forward players. And I think we need more just quality around that front line. And a guy like an Eze, I mean, he's a very, very tricky player, and he would be really useful in games like that. What do you think of James Maddison, Charlie? Do you think is he doing enough for you? Dave and I have been slightly critical of him recently.
Well, start of the season, he was amazing. Best player in the league, 100%. But now, best signing sort of this season. But since his injury, he's been a bit he's been a bit on and off. I feel like his performances aren't consistent enough anymore. He needs I think he needs a bit of competition, because without competition, it feels like he doesn't care anymore. The way he plays, he doesn't run a lot. He just doesn't do all his flicks, doesn't shoot enough. Like the way he played at the start was like, I'm fully Tottenham. Now it's a bit like, does he really want to be here? Because how he's playing, it doesn't feel like he wants to be here.
Do you know what? I sort of get that myself. I wonder with Ange pulling him off early the last couple of games, and stuff like that. Is there something maybe brewing there? Look, I don't think we're going to outlay the fee within on Maddison just to get rid of him. But I do wonder if there's something brewing between Postecoglou and Maddison, because if I'm Postecoglou, I'm furious with a lot of Maddison's performance, especially since he's returned from injury. You go back to before he was injured, he was trying to tread balls into dangerous areas between the centre-back and the full-back, for the striker, out to the wingers. He's getting on the ball, dribbling at people, taking shots. Since he's come back from injury, he's just passing on the responsibility all the time. It's really, really frustrating. I'm trying to work out, whether that's what we're going to get from Maddison season in, season out, or whether he's just holding himself back, saving himself, making sure he's fit for that Euros. I'm not quite so sure on him, but I definitely agree with you. I think a bit of competition for him would definitely benefit Tottenham first and foremost, but maybe push him onto a new level. But, would you have any suggestions on that sort of player to come in here? Because for me, I don't think you can just buy an out-and-out Cam and just put him into that midfield tree that we play. I think it has to be a sort of certain type of player. Have you any suggestions?
Like Eze, like I just said, I think he is everything we need, really. I think he's a great competition for Maddison. I think they both play a bit like the same. They're both really good players, well-class players. And I feel like if we have them as a competition together, we could rotate them. And then if, let's say, Maddison has a bad game, we just swap him out for Eze. Same with the Doggy and Porro. Let's get like Grimaldo and Frimpong in. The Leverkusen guys?
Yeah.
This season, they've had, got the stats here, they had 8 goals and 7 assists for Frimpong, and 9 goals and 11 assists for Grimaldo. Imagine that at Tottenham. That would just, those stats, they can do a lot for us.
Do you know what?
Grimaldo, he has a wand of a left foot. He's kind of similar, I think, to a Pedro Porro, where he's actually a terrifically technical player, playing as a fullback who could probably play majority of the positions, just happens to be kind of in that fullback type of role. But it's more of a wingback system at Leverkusen, and so they really do rely on those guys for the creativity, for kind of the danger and setting up chances. And you think that if those guys were to come into this team, it wouldn't be that dissimilar. Like, it would be similar kind of asking, of them to make things happen, create chances. So it makes a lot of sense to bring a player.
Well, Doji and Porro went from wing backs to full backs, didn't they? And they managed to make the adaptation. When it comes to Frimpong, I actually like Frimpong. He was at Celtic before he joined Bayer Leverkusen. He was really good at Celtic. He's got a good touch. He's good in the final third as well. And he's actually improved at Leverkusen since his days at Celtic. He's quick. He can get up and down that wing. He's relentless. So not too bad names to throw out there whatsoever. Jack, any more questions, my man?
Just on the game, because it might be funny just to get your opinion on this sort of type of thing, Charlie. A lot of Forest fans were really outraged by the punch or alleged punch that James Maddison gave to Ryan Yates. Did you get a good look at it? Did you think there was something cynical behind it? And what did you make of the Forest fans saying that it was another top 6 club like Spurs benefiting from the refs and things like that?
I thought it wasn't a red card. Come on, man. It's football. It's not basketball. It's a contact sport. We shouldn't. These kind of things. Just give him a warning. Don't send him off for that. But the Danilo one on Lascelles, that was a red card. Nobody's complaining about that. That was a real red card. That was the Romero one against Chelsea. That was exactly the same thing. But VAR didn't look at that. So in the end, it's not that consistent. So the next game he could be sent off for that. Refs aren't consistent these days.
No,
so in my eyes, no. Sorry?
Do you think they have a bias against Spurs, the referees, and that?
Against? Not really. This season, not really. I think we had a lot of decisions in favour of us, especially the Liverpool one. That was a very lucky day. Yeah. But I think in total, we've been treated fairly. We can't complain about our ref decisions.
Definitely.
Just before we let you go, just one more quick question here. It was from Johnny Mannix. He wants to know, you've been keeping an eye on our boy Troy Parrott over there?
Troy Parrott, not really. I'm just only really Tottenham. I'm not really onto that Dutch football, but to be honest, not really. I've heard he's been doing all right, but he hasn't been playing every game. I think we should just sell him on.
He's had a couple of 2 big injuries this season as well, which, if he didn't get the injury, I would have said give him preseason, see how he gets on. But the fact that he's injured again, I just think he's always going to have that throughout his career. So I think I'm at the point now, again, move him on. Just lastly, Jimenez. I know you said you probably don't watch too much of Dutch football, but I presume it's hard to ignore considering how much Spurs fans go on about him. He must be on fire over there. Is he good enough for the Premier League?
Well, I feel he's been very good this season, but the last couple of seasons he hasn't really shown it all. I mean, like the same with all this Solanke, all this kind of stuff. I don't believe in one season wonders. I feel like we can't have him yet because it's a bit, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel right to have him already in the team. He hasn't done a lot. He's just been good for really one season. I think we should see how he does next season, because to put like such a high price tag on him already for just having like one very, very good season in the Eredivisie, which is not the best league in the world, I feel like it's a bit too fast.
I think you made a very good point, Charlie. And I heard someone recently make a similar point about one season wonders. Like, yes, if you're a smaller club, perhaps it's a good opportunity to take advantage of, someone who's had a brilliant season. You get him maybe slightly cheaper than he could be if he were to have another brilliant season. But clubs like Spurs, like, do you really need to take that risk? Like, you could probably be better off just going for more established guys that have actually put in good seasons in a row. And I think that's very actually reasonable of you, and very, I just think that's smart of you to look at it that way. Because I'll admit, I'm very guilty of falling into the hipster kind of talents and things like that, of the one season wonders. And a club like Spurs, we just don't need to think that way. We don't need to always go after those sort of players. I really agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Because our team now needs more depth, needs more intelligent players that already have seen the play, because we've got a lot of young players now. I feel like if we get like 2 like well-known, like Eze, he's been in the Premier League for 4 years. Those players that have been playing top level football for the last 3 years, if we get them in the team, they've got more knowledge of the ball, of the game. I think they could really get us higher next season.
Well, do you know what, Charlie? I think it's been an absolute great call-in from you, my man. I've really enjoyed this. Please call in again. And like Fifth Elemento says here, if you want to drop us your number, you want to do more streams and stuff like that, just let us know, okay?
I'd love to. And guys, one more thing. Whatever Levy says about the money, I don't really believe it, because he just put up the season tickets, and now he says if we do, like Champions League, and now he wants even more investors. It's every year it's a different excuse. I feel like there should be a year that we just spend our money.
Yeah,
I don't know if we'll ever spend it all. I think Levy will ever spend it all.
Look, we'll wait and see what happens this summer. I think the proof will be in the pudding. I think many fans realise we've got a good sort of base to build off Postecoglou. We know sort of coming out the tail end of this season where the majority of the money needs to be spent, which is that forward line. So I think the proof will be in the pudding. We'll see what sort of players we bring in here, and I think we'll know what the goal is from there, whether it's to consolidate top 4, whether it's to really push on and challenge. So this summer I think will tell us a lot. But if you're going on previous years, you'd probably say you probably will hold back. But we'll wait and see what happens on that regard. But like I said, my man, if you do want to do any more with us or anything like that, just drop your number here in the private chat, lad, and we'll be in contact.
Great guy, guys. Thank you so much. And shout out to Colin. Is that all right? Best mate.
Yes, shout out whoever you want.
Shout out to Colin. Shout out to my family. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
Big up to Colin and big up to Charlie's family, by the way. He's a good one. He speaks very well.
He smashed it. Big up, Charlie.
I'm only 16. Yesterday was my birthday.
Okay.
Oh wow! Congratulations. You get anything nice?
Yeah, well, money, because I want to do a world trip around the globe. So just saving up for that.
Nice. Where are you most excited about going? I
think South America, really, or like North America, because I've only been once, and I've been to the New York coast. I'd love to go to like the LA and all that stuff. That would just be amazing.
Yeah, well, it's very big over here, so try to go, don't go everywhere, because I would say it's very hard to cover all of America. New York is not meant for the faint of hearted. It's definitely pretty crazy over here. So it's nice to visit. Not always nice to live here. Big up to you, Charlie. Nice one, man.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much
Great
for your
call,
time,
man.
Charlie. Have a good evening.
Smashed it.
See you, my man. See you. Guys, how great was Charlie? How great was that? I see a lot of people in the comments, really enjoying his input and stuff like that. And so, yeah, look, if you want to see more of him, we did say to him, drop his number in, and we'll get him on for maybe a pre-match show or something like that, and stuff like that. But great calling from Charlie. I love these unexpected callings, Jack.
Yeah, that, and also you and I had a conversation today or the other day about how you and I have had our own debuts and stuff like that, and how nervous you and I both were going into them, and how look at where the channel is now and everything. So the people that smash it like Charlie does, I'm actually really blown away by that, because I think it's pretty hard to just go in and do what he's just done there, and also shows that maybe it's quite easy for some of you guys. It wasn't as easy for me to do it, so it just shows anybody can do it, anybody can come on and have their say. And you can smash it like Charlie does, because that was way better than my first debut ever on a show.
Way better than mine. I think my first one was on We Are Talking TV, and when I went back to listen to it, I could barely hear myself. I was speaking that low and I was that short. So fair play, Charlie. Big yourself up, my man. But look, Jack, we'll keep it moving. I think we've got 3 guests left. I think we've got Alan, Paul, and Teslim in there as well. So who's on next, Jack? Who's next?
I think it's Teslim. Teslim, can you show on your camera? Or if you don't want to go camera, that's okay. It looks like you unmuted your mic. Is that right? Looks like you unmuted the mic. If you want to mute the mic, then we can bring you on, Teslim. Or unhide your camera. Yeah, that's okay. If you don't want to use camera, we're just going to bring you on here. Big up, Teslim. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm actually very excited. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very excited to be here. Firstly, before I start saying anything, I want to thank the person who gave me this membership. I'm really grateful. Do you remember when someone gave about 100 people membership?
For some reason, Teslim, your mic, though, is like a slightly underwater kind of sound. Dave, I know you're kind of lagging a bit.
Against anything.
Let me come back. Sure.
Yeah, no worries. We'll give Teslim a minute. I think he's going to log out and log back in. Tyler, you probably know what's going on. You diagnosed DJ AK last week. Let us know if you have any suggestions for Teslim today.
Maybe we can just go on to the next person, and then we can bring on Teslim later after that, just to keep things moving here. Teslim, though, if you are listening to us, I think Dave is right. Maybe you had it close to your chest, or you had your mic being kind of blocked by something or whatever, because it did sound like you were slightly underwater a little bit. But we're gonna. Should we try Teslim again? Should we try him one more time?
Again. Yeah, he's back again. Bring him on again. Teslim,
okay, can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better?
I think that is better.
Right. I'm very fine, thank you. I said I would like to give a shout out and a big thank you to the person who gave me this membership. It's probably going to be ending in a few days, but I'm really grateful. I've been able to access contents that I've not been able to access before because I didn't have a membership, and it has been nice. And I told myself I was going to come here one day. I tried last time, but my network messed me up. And here I am. So yes,
thank you.
And I also have from the last member show, which I wanted to join. I look forward to going through them with you guys. So yeah.
Sorry, I think it slightly broke up with what maybe said in the second part. But Teslim, what I did here was, I really appreciate you even coming on and taking advantage of the generosity of probably was like a Davey Shire, a Jason Bell, so many generous people that have done that. And I appreciate you taking advantage of it, because not everybody does. And because it's hard, you have to make time out of your evening or out of your day. And it's also intimidating to come on. I don't think Dave and I bite, but it's hard to talk in front of people. And I appreciate you coming on. Really nice, John. Nice one.
Thank you very much.
No, it's good to have you, my man. Where are you from first? Whereabouts are you calling?
I'm Nigerian. I am from Lagos. What did you say?
Paro Miguel Escobardo, it does be in the chat. I think he's Lagos as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Absolutely love that. Big yourself up, my man. Good to have you. But look, what do you want to get your teeth sunk into? What do you want to talk about tonight?
Okay, so a while ago, some sports fans want Ange out. And I was thinking, playing devil's advocate, do you guys really think it is from the fans? In the sense that if you look at the pattern which has been going on at Spurs for years now, since Poch, we haven't had a manager finish a full season. Do you think that whole sack him comes from the ownership doing that? So we already expect it that whenever anything is going wrong, rather than sticking with the manager, because like where this thought came to me from was when I was watching a video on Liverpool's manager search, and they were talking about how Will, what's his name at Leverkusen, Xabi, regrets not taking the Liverpool job because it only comes around once in a while. And then jobs like Tottenham and Chelsea, you never hear them say the job only comes around once in a while. So I was thinking the whole Angel thing could come from even the ownership, because that's what they do. So the fans expect it. So whenever anything is going wrong, we say Angel, sack him. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from with that one, because it could benefit the ownership to a degree for having all that turnover, and they just kind of don't have to build with something. They can just continue to scrap whatever project they have and start again. I could see how that could benefit them, but I don't know, man. I think probably the ownership is getting a bit tired. I think of this, I call it kind of the Watford scenario, where we are sacking a manager every season like a Watford does. And you do find yourself then just kind of in this, I don't know, this purgatory, or this sort of like, you're not really going anywhere. You're kind of just drifting instead of really sailing in any direction. I'm not sure if the owners can be behind that, but I agree with you that when we do sack a manager and we don't give them that faith or the whole season, it does lead to this kind of just going nowhere type of pattern.
I also think, I don't know whether it comes from the owners, this Ange out. I do see fans, time to time. They're not a large majority, but time to time, after games when we lose and stuff, going after Ange out and stuff like that. But I do think that impatience stems from the lack of success under this ownership. So indirectly, I do think it probably comes from the ownership, 100%.
All right, can you hear me? Am I still? Am I still hearing me? Okay. The second thing, this was back then. You guys were talking about a title challenge. Some people were talking about how, we're going to have a title challenge next season. Jesus Christ! I don't know where that is coming from, because I think that is absurd. I think that is one of the craziest statements I've ever heard in my life. Firstly, we are playing. This season went out of the FA Cup early, and we also went out of the Carabao Cup early, and we are still barely holding on to fourth position, even after going out of both the FA Cup and Kini. And next season, we're going to be in like more competitions, basically. So it's going to be harder. We're going to be playing midweek games and then weekend games, which is going to make it more difficult, possibly even causing more injuries to quote unquote our best players. So this whole title challenge talk is absurd. And also, I won't say I don't think Brennan is good enough. I love Brennan. I hope and pray every day that he gets himself together and starts playing to his full potential. But at the moment, with what I'm seeing, I don't see a front three of Brennan, Son, Richarlison, or whoever they want to put there challenging, getting us the type of numbers that let me not use Arsenal players. We hate Arsenal. Or a Nunez, or a Diaz, or a Salah, or a Grealish, or a Haaland will get. It's not possible. I don't even know what world people think we're living in, but I don't think that's possible. So I don't see that whole title challenge thing happening next season. Not next season, at least. So yeah, that's my take on that.
First of all, at the start of the season, I'll be the first one to hold my hands up. I got a bit carried away, but I mean that's the joy for me of being a football fan. When your team does well, you get carried away. When they lose, you get angry. I mean, look, I'm not going to tell people to support the club how they, the way they should support the club, and I don't expect people to tell me to support the club the way I should support it. If I want to get carried away, I'm well within my title to get carried away. But look, when it comes to the title race next season, Look, I agree with you in terms of the front line that we've got. I think there is problems that I've been highlighting it a lot myself. Look, I tried highlighting it back in the summer when everyone told me it was good to sell Harry Kane. So when it comes to that front line, I fully agree with you. But for me, it all depends what sort of players they bring in here this summer. I think the system is good. I think it works. It gets us up into the final third. It camps us there for large periods. We dominate possession, but it's in that possession I just feel we don't do enough to break down the opposition. We play it very safe in front of them. And if we do want to get to a title challenge next year, we do need to bring in better forward players. And I have advocated for that for quite some time.
Yeah, basically. I agree with you. Also, I'm so sorry that I'm the one saying what I want to talk about, by the way. I just took notes.
That's your job, man. That's your job, Teslim. I love this. You're running the show for us. You're making our life easier.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So as for the my take on Werner. So when we signed Werner, I will not say I was excited.
Yeah.
I was numb, neutral. I didn't know how to think about it or what to think about it. And now, seeing him play, I believe there's a case for both sides, both the people that want him and the people that don't. The people that want him would say, oh, he's better than Bryan Hill. If we're going to sell Hill, he'll be okay as a squad player. At least he will be able to get onto the pitch. He'll barely even get onto the bench, talk less of getting onto the pitch. So by that, we're improving his squad. Then the other side could say, oh yeah, he might be better than Hill. But would he actually, over the course of a season, would he cost us more than he would help us? In the sense that Werner misses some very absurd chances. And everybody says, oh, he's better than Hill. But then there are some chances that he misses that make you rethink, are the pros really outweighing the cons? Like, do you get what I'm saying? So yes, he might be better than Hill, but his misses are quite ridiculous. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So some people might say it's not worth it.
No, I get what you're saying, Werner. This is, I've been arguing myself back and forth with this. He does good against some of the teams with low blocks and stuff. If that chance fell to him against a Liverpool and Arsenal or City, where it really makes a difference, put 3 points on the board, when you're in a cup final or something like that, is he going to deliver that goal if it falls to him? That's where I'd probably lose a bit of confidence in the signing, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so my next talking point is on a number 6. I was listening to I've forgotten what show it was actually, but still, because I play a lot of FM. I'm even playing FM right now talking to you.
Who are you managing?
Yes. I play a lot of FM, so I find players. So I had found this guy Manu Kone. And I'd signed him before, but then today someone, right? I think it was Stel. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Stel spoke about him and said, for number 6, that's our guy. And then I went onto YouTube to watch his highlights, and I genuinely think after watching that, that's our guy. And unlike a Paulinho, he fits the age profile. He's 23, I think. 23, probably turning 24. So I think that's our guy. Also, I believe that with some players, Ange is trying to figure out some things. Earlier, when Bentancur came back from injury, was playing in the 6. I think Ange realized that he's too weak for the 6. Bentancur is not strong enough for the 6. So a lot of times when he was on the 6, trying to be secure with the ball, if they hit him off the ball, he gets off, they don't call it foul. We're under attack. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why it's playing him as an 8. And I don't know why Ange hasn't tried it yet, but why not try Sarr at 6 as well? And also with the whole trying to find position, I think Ange has realized that Kulu can't exactly play the right wing, which is why in the previous game, I think it was West Ham, he took off Maddison and he brought on Kulu to play 10, and he was awful. This next game, he played in my left wing, still didn't play well. So I think he's trying to find a position for him to play because he's really struggling at the right wing. So yeah.
Do you think he's like a Havertz, Teslim? I think he's like a Havertz, where it's like a lot of managers like him for what he brings, but he is sort of one of those guys like that. Just it's hard to know what position they actually are, right? He's a good player, but it's hard to know what position is his best position.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's, like I just said, a jack of all trades, master of none, like Havertz, basically. Jack of all trades, master of none. So yeah.
Just quickly, you mentioned Manu Kone. What's your thoughts on Kefran Turam? I think he's very similar. For me, I'd like him.
I have used him on FM, but I haven't actually gone to watch him on YouTube. I would have to do that to come to a conclusion. But I watched Manu Kone today, and he's brilliant. And you know that whole thing where Højbjerg knows how to spread the ball? Kone also does that as well. So he's not only good at dribbling like Bissouma, he can also spread the ball like through a pass. He's amazing. My God, he's really amazing. He's really amazing.
No, yeah, look, he's one that he'd be picked out of there and get a big move. But sorry, Jack, you probably watch more of him than I have.
No, I of course watch a lot of Bundesliga. With Manu Kone, like he's just more been like an exceptional talent for the last few years. But for some reason or another, I think most of the time it's had to do with injury, if I can remember correctly. He hasn't actually gotten that big move yet out of the Bundesliga. I'm surprised he's even still at Borussia Mönchengladbach, especially this season, because they've been more under kind of rebuilding or just kind of vague obscurity in the past few years. They're not the team that they used to be, I think, kind of 5-6 years ago, where they were competing more for European spots. They're kind of now around kind of mid-table type of side, even lower. And I'm just surprised that he hasn't left already, basically. And I think maybe, if I can remember, that's more to do with injuries. I'm not sure if he's injury prone or anything like that. And for you to say that he's a number 6, I could see him play as a number 6. I've always seen him as more of a number 8 because he is actually an exceptional dribbler and ball carrier. That's what always his best attributes were in that Mönchengladbach team, was the way he could carry the ball up the pitch without needing to pass it or anybody. He's just an exceptional player with the ball at his feet. To say that he has that passing range, that you mentioned, I'll have to look at him more. It's just I don't remember that as much about his game. It was especially the dribbling that I remember about his game was really good.
All right, no problem. Also, I don't know the word I would use for this, but I want to say something contradictory to what Mia said. So Mia was talking about, and this is something that I have spoken quite a bit about on someone else's YouTube channel that I go on, and it is about expectations changing. So Mia was talking about how a lot of us thought, saying that if we finish 4th this season, or if we don't finish in Champions League place this season, it's a failure and things like that. At the beginning of the season, my expectation was 8th and good football. I did not expect Destiny to play as well as he did. I did not expect Van de Ven to play as well as he did. I did not expect Pedro Porro to be arguably one of the best right backs in the league. I did not expect Bissouma to have the start he did. I did not expect Madison to have the start he did. I did not expect Son to start how he did. And when the season started, expectations changed. It happens a lot. There are a lot of things. We thought a lot of the players will adapt, learn the system and things like that. But as the season went on, expectations changed. So a lot of us were not expecting us to finish 8th anymore. Even in Football Manager, like I said, there are times when mid-season, when it reaches January and you're over-exceeding expectations, they ask you to change your objectives for the season. Expectations change when the season starts. So you can't exactly say, oh, you guys were expecting 8th and good football at the beginning of the season. So now, when you've had such a good season, you can't say if you finish 4th is a failure because you expected 8th. Expectations change as seasons go on. Like Arsenal, last season, they didn't expect to challenge for the title. But then their expectation was to finish in a Champions League spot. But when by, I think, January they were first, then anything aside from top 2 would have been a failure. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you can't exactly say, oh, you expected this at the beginning, so stick to that, because it's like changing an opinion. So yeah.
Look, I get what you're saying, but it's a bit, it's a bit like where you said, we got carried away with the title talk, but that's where we were at the start of the season, right? So expectations probably changed based off that. Look, I'm not here to defend Mia. Mia made that point. It's for her to defend. But if we don't make top 4, I think what she's alluding to, does it mean we should sack Ange and stuff like that? No, it doesn't. We should still continue with the project. I think that's more what she was saying. I think she said she's heard some people say if we don't get top 4, get rid of Ange or something like that. It's being a favor, get someone else in. But I think where she's maybe getting at that is, even if we don't finish in top 4, we still have a good platform to build off. We don't need to change direction. Chopping and changing constant direction is what's got us into the mess over the last few years.
Yeah, fair enough. I get what you're saying. I also have something to say on Maddison. So
yeah, work away.
If you guys
make this the last one, man, because we have more people to come on. So we'll go on. Let's say you have to say on Maddison.
All right, no problem. Maddison has a way of playing football. He likes to dribble with the ball, give passes in behind defenses. If you look at majority of the games, when we played the first 10 games, most significantly the Liverpool game, he was able to thread the ball through their defense for Richarlison to pass it across for Son to score. I don't know if you guys remember that goal.
Yeah, I remember.
Majority of the time, teams went sitting back. If you look at how like a KDB plays, it's different. He doesn't pass like behind, like, because a lot of the time City play low blocks. The way he plays football is different from how a Maddison plays. I understand there are two different types of players, but I feel like he needs to learn that different types of games require different types of playmakers, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there's a playmaker like a Musiala who will dribble people and create space for other people, and there are playmakers like Verts who would use the ball to play make, basically. And I've been quite disappointed in him that he hasn't been able to grasp that yet. Because a lot of the times I know Dave complains about this a lot, and it pisses me off just as much as it pisses you off, believe me. He's just passing the ball from side to side, doing whatever, going back. He will go back to this number 6 position and pass the ball to the center backs and the number 6, doing exactly what Bissouma was doing there. Like, what are you doing? You're meant to create chances for us and you're not creating anything. And then he's making our wingers seem worse than they are, because they're not the best players. And then they're having to do all the creating of chances. So it's like, this is not possible. The burden of creating chances can't only be on the wingers. He's there to do that. And it's basically like, with him, since after I came back, he's like, we've been playing with 2 8s, basically. So yeah, that's it. That's what I have to say.
Look, I get frustrated as you with Maddison. I agree with you. It's not all down to the 4 players. Maddison was brought in to be that point of difference at times, right? And he's not doing it. He is shirking responsibility. And I'm really frustrated with him. Like I said, I think we could do with some competition for him to sort of, make, because it'd be a good test for him, right? You'll know. And does he want to be on it every week? And does he rise to competition? Or does he sit there and moan about it? If he sits there and moans about him, get him gone. That's where I'm at with it. If he doesn't like competition and stuff. But Tess, my man, I'm going to call you Tess because it's just shorter, a good nickname for you. I have to say, I've really enjoyed this. It's been a bit different to what we're used to. You asking us the questions and putting us to the test, my friend. I've actually really enjoyed it, and hopefully this isn't the last time we speak to you, buddy. I also play a lot of football manager, so.
Fair enough. No problem. I've enjoyed it as well. I'm so grateful to meet you guys finally. And yeah, you're such nice people. And it's nice to finally get to talk to you. So yeah.
Thanks for taking advantage of the membership test. Thanks for taking advantage of it. I'm glad that you got to watch some of the extra content. I'm just, again, appreciative that you have come on and had your say. Because like I said, not everybody does that. They don't always maybe take advantage of it. And I'm glad that you have. So well done to you, sir. And I'm sorry we couldn't talk to you sooner, because it sounds like you want to talk, in other times, but I'm glad we could catch you this time, and appreciate you just putting out your opinions and everything. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great listening to you.
Yeah.
No problem. All right. No problem.
Have a good rest of your night, my friend.
All right. Bye-bye.
Come with me a trophy on FM.
Come on, you Spurs. They got
See you, buddy. I really enjoyed that, actually. A bit different, Jack. Putting questions to us, putting us to the test, hold me to account on some things. I don't mind that. It was a good conversation. I really enjoyed that.
And the magic of fixing the mic, because once you fix the mic, we get to hear everybody's beautiful accents. Because I really like Teslin's. I liked his accent. It's great, and I think he had really a kind of original or kind of unique opinions, maybe the ones that we don't always hear, or at least he phrased them in a way that I thought was very thought-provoking to a degree as well. Big up Teslim, and well done Jason Bell for showing him some love, as well as Brad Matthews. But I think we just have 2 guests left this evening. We're going to get through them. They've been waiting also very patiently. We have Alan, Rakdos Madness, and then we have the one and only Paul, who's going to be our closer.
Back from Malta he is. But look, let's keep it going. Alan, you said his name's Jacko?
Yeah, Alan is up next. He's been waiting very patiently. Pick up Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for waiting, man.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Looks like a great day where you are. Where are you?
We're in San Diego.
So no eclipse, I bet, for you guys. You guys were pretty far away from it, as were we.
We had an eclipse. But it wasn't for very long. You guys got it for quite a bit. Texas got it for even more. And then we got some of it. It was cool. I think they said it's like the next one isn't for a long time, like a really long time.
Interesting. I wouldn't know. But it looks like the sun has returned, thank God, to San Diego.
Yeah.
Looking very bright, looking very beautiful, non-apocalyptic. Behind you with the world ending. What are your thoughts on the last game, Alan? The random place that I have started off people is actually, funny enough, on that red card debate on James Madison. Is that a place you'd like to start? James Madison, he's in trouble with the Forest fans.
Sure. I mean, look, we need a player who is kind of the shithouse kind of player. We lack that on the team. We want Basuma to be it. Højbjerg sometimes can do it, but we lack that. We lack that person that just bangs into people, knocks them down, gets them a little nervous to get physical. And someone with a little bit of attitude. We're kind of like the nice guy team.
Do we need more Romeros, do you think?
I think in the midfield, specifically in the midfield, I think someone that has a Romero type attitude and play style would be beneficial for us. And I think Madison's trying to do that. I don't think it was a red card. Certainly not. Someone else mentioned the Danilo tackle was definitely kind of like a leg breaker type tackle. I thought that was definitely a red card. But no, it's someone said it before also. It's a physical game. It's a physical contact sport, so it makes it nice when the refs kind of card that or they dissuade that, it kind of takes away from the game. As it is, these guys are diving or doing stuff, and every time they get touched, they go down. So I kind of appreciate it when there's a little bit of shithousery going on.
Yeah, I know.
Should Yates have got a second yellow for diving then?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I guess from my opinion, if I want them to card the opposition for doing it, I guess we have to live with the fact that sometimes we may get carded for doing it. If the refs will never be that consistent to do something like that on a relative basis. So, I'm actually pretty nervous about the transfer window.
Okay.
I wanted to talk to you guys about the transfer window.
Go ahead. Where are the nerves?
I just did a video. So I started a channel.
Wow. What's it called?
Team Tottenham Go.
Team Tottenham Go. I'll look it up right now.
All one word. I created a spreadsheet. I kind of did like a Sean Butler-esque type video, going over the players that we got to get out and like what they cost, what their value is right now. And it's pretty telling. You know, players like Brian Hill, Giovanni Lo Celso, Tanguy Ndombele, you know, they're players that we spent a ton on relative to their present worth. And I don't know that a lot of players are going to get sold for what we want them to be sold for, you know? So I don't know how quickly Levy and co are going to be willing to take big losses on all of these players. Maybe one, you know, let's say it's Tanguy Ndombele. I heard that we were just offering to Galatasaray for £5 million, and they said no. So he's not to the market. He's not even worth 5 million. But we bought him for like it was like 60 something. It was like 63 million pounds or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's a huge. Yeah, it's a huge, and it's a huge loss. And my concern is they'll penalize our budget in the summertime as a result of having to maybe tear up his contract, or you know, what do you do with Giovanni Lo Celso? I'm sorry about the helicopter.
No, I was going to say your mind is in a great place, Alan, because Dave and I have had this same conversation in years past over the summer about Spurs are going to have to be pretty ruthless with all this dead weight in the squad. And oftentimes we weren't. And then we would bear the consequences of it because we would still have these guys that no one really rated still left around. And then the manager would just basically be forced to play them because they didn't get rid of them. And then you're in this awkward position of like, does the manager even have what he really needs to work with? Because the previous player that he didn't even want to play last season is now his first choice left back or whatever it may be. And it's hard.
Right. We have a surplus of players who don't fit Ange's system, who he won't want to come back. We got Sergio Reguilon, who will be coming back, 100%, because his loan is not a well. But see, Oliver Skip is an interesting one because he's homegrown. So whatever his value is now, which I think it said it was like 15 million pounds or something like that, that's all profit for us. So if we were to sell Skip, that's at least profit. But everyone else on down, except if we were to sell Højbjerg kind of exceeds his initial purchase price. But I have my personal opinion.
Oh, what's happened? We'll give him a minute anyway. Yeah, we'll give him a minute. But guys, until he does come back, you know what to do. Guys setting up his own channel, new channel. Please get over there.
Oh, there you are. I hear you.
Oh, sorry, Alan. Yeah, I think internet.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you. Internet just broke for a second.
Cool. Sean at Spurs Talk Show was talking about, he used the Y Scout tool to kind of plug in various, attributes, desirable attributes, and Højbjerg was right at the top. And I'm kind of right there with him, it's like, because he was worth like, let's say we could sell him for 25 million pounds. Do we find someone within that price range to replace him? And I think we would have to spend much bigger to replace Højbjerg.
I think you do.
And I'm not sure that we're going to get a lot of opportunity to spend bigger, maybe one, maybe two players. As Ange said, he'd rather have 250 million versus 100 million, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get 100 million in a war chest to spend 50 and 50. I don't know what he's going to get. And considering the losses that that the club may take, I don't know what our budget. I'm just concerned what our budget's going to be if we get penalized for bad choices. We got Joe Rodon we have to sell. Yeah. Leeds, I think, wants him. Jed Spence is coming back. Sergio Reguilon's coming back. We got Tanguy Ndombele, who no one wants. Giovanni Lo Celso. I don't know who wants Giovanni Lo Celso. He's not getting enough time to really showcase himself. So, and the times that he does have, like he was at game, he played the other day, and he did fine, but he came on in like the 75th minute, so he doesn't get a lot of time to showcase himself, to kind of, prance around and show off his skills. But so look, I don't know where are you guys at?
Look, I think that's why they it's come out now that the club are looking for investment, right? Because I said this to you the other day, Jack, when we were doing the video about that, and it's something that me and Jack have been trying to caution for quite some time about. Just loaning them out is not dealing with the situation and stuff like that. I made an argument for instance, my main argument was pay off Bella's contract, stop with this nonsense. Get rid of it, get rid of the problem for good, so that we can move on and start having good accounts and stuff. A lot of the signings we made under Steve Hitchin, me and Jack tried to warn. We've barely sold any of them on for any resale value. And when the club is a self-sustainable, that doesn't go hand in hand, right? And with all the other revenue streams Levy's brought to the table, still isn't enough to make us self-sustainable and break even at the end of the year. And a lot of that is because we're not getting any resale value from the players that we brought in under Steve Hitchin to balance that. So, it's a huge problem. And I think that's why we're at the point now where he's maybe succumbing to getting some guy to come in here and help invest, because he's not going to want to lose his money. But if there's a sugar daddy out there that does, he'll gladly take it. And I think that's where we're at with it right now, personally.
Yeah. I'm curious how that would go. Well, I'm curious how it would go. Would it be like a Manchester United, Ineos kind of partnership? Is Daniel Levy willing to step away from the football side, which I actually think he is. If you go through the recent financial statements that came out, and if you look at last year's also, but this year's, in the financial statement, it talks about how not only are they interested in the football club as the primary purpose of the club, of the company, but they're looking to diversify into non-footballing activities as a secondary. And I feel it's like a transition into primary. They've got the NFL coming, they've got the concerts, they've got the go-karting, they have the live events at the stadium itself. So yeah, I think that an investment from someone who's willing to take over the footballing activities would be beneficial to us more than it would even to Manchester United. I'm just not sure how it would work, because Levy's not the easiest owner to work with, and
that was your fear,
right? What's that?
I think that was Jack's fear. I think Jack highlighted that point. When we were speaking about that, Levy's not the easiest owner to work with. So how does that look like? Look, answer your own question. What do you think that looks like?
Man, I mean, I think ultimately Levy he's a finance person, that's his background. And I think that he would probably look at it more transactional. I think that he was not the right person to be involved in the footballing activities in the first place, but he did it because he's so concerned about where the money is going and how it's being spent that he didn't trust anyone but himself. But I think he has in place, he now has, he has Paratici, he has Langa, I think he's got people in place who he trusts enough to take a step back. And I think I think it's proven by the fact that he's now looking for outside investment. I think until he set that structure, I don't think he would have been willing to accept outside investment. So I think in the next couple of years, we will see more transitions and more changes in this club for the better. Ultimately for the better, because I think, as a CEO of a company, he was having too much detailed individual say in day-to-day activities that I think CEOs generally don't have any interest in partaking in.
Look, it's hard to know. I'm hoping he's at the point now where, he's able, like you said, he's made steps to separate the football side from the business side, right? That's why he's brought in the likes of Scott on, Paratici as an advisor, to sort of oversee all that. So
I think it's down to the trust, though, that Alan was talking about. I think that was, if I were to ever put myself in Levy's head, which is a scary place to go, but I think what was happening was he what Alan said was he was watching his money being spent poorly. Basically, the money that he allocated for transfers, he just saw absolute duds coming through week in, week out from Steve Hitchen. And when that happens, it's like if you left someone else in charge of your grocery budget or something like that, and you feel like, you actually have no food after you gave them $100 or something like that. I think it's something similar where like you're now feeling like, well, what am I trusting this guy with my money? Might as well just do it myself, even if I don't even rate myself with doing it. This guy clearly has no idea what he's doing. Yeah. And I think Levy just wasn't ruthless enough to someone like a Steve Hitchen. Perhaps there was a bit of a friendship there or something going on like behind the scenes that we didn't know about that could have made it harder for him to get rid of him. Ultimately, he's the boss. He could get rid of him any day that he wants, but he just wasn't ruthless enough about getting rid of Hitchen, despite, I think, clearly not trusting him, like you said, with the fact that he took over so much power of the transfers definitely suggests he didn't trust Hitchen at all. So I'm confused where Levy's head was at that time about, just seemed like he was just, in this neutral position where he just didn't know what to do about either getting rid of Hitchen or not getting rid. And then the moment he brings in Paratici, we're told that he handed the keys to Paratici. Paratici's doing this and doing that and doing whatever he wants around the club. So clearly Levy is almost, I've said to Dave, I think Levy is as good as his director of football. If he has a terrible director of football, he will look to be a terrible owner. If he has a good director of football, he will look to actually be a much better owner than people maybe make him out to be. And it's just because he's not someone that should ever be in charge of the buying of the players. What he is good at is the finance stuff, like you mentioned, the extra revenue sources, that preventing us from falling into financial fair play, all those sort of things. Like he's actually quite good at. But for those years, he just wasn't focusing on that. And Alan, you had it spot on. I think what you said, like per usual with Dave and I, we like to describe it in 10,000 words, and you just did it in 200 words. So I'm very, very impressed by you for that.
I just don't want a summer transfer window like when we had the Bale budget. Remember when we sold Gareth Bale and we made all of those purchases, and how many of those players are still around? I don't think any of them.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Alan, though, we just wanted to give you maybe one last chance, though, if you did have something else on your mind just quickly that you did want to talk about. I think that was really well said about a lot of the transfers and stuff this summer. But did you have any quick other Spurs opinions that you wanted to get off your chest before we go on to Paul?
No. Go on to Paul. Really, I wanted to talk about transfer budget. And
do you want to plug the channel then? Because we're putting in the link here. Everybody's going to be following you over. Is there any video that you have on your mind? Any video you have on your mind that's coming up or something like that?
It just dropped a couple of hours, ago. Is the financial talk?
Cool.
It's at Team Tottenham Go, all one word or underscore go. Either way, please. Again, as I said in my channel, I'm a 45-year-old man who hasn't done this before, and I'm sort of just winging it on a wing and a prayer. So bear with me. I'll get better at it but yeah, Team Tottenham Go, please come on.
That's how it's
come on, you Spurs.
Gives me something to listen to tonight when I'm doing my football manager season. So I'll definitely have a good listen to that. But look, what I would say to everybody else out there is, we're very good here at lifting each other up, supporting each other and stuff like that. So please get over, check out Alan's content. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Alan, look, if you ever need anything, if there's anything we can ever help you with or anything like that, just reach out and ask. Now,
thank you so much.
Geniuses, we don't have the manual for YouTube and all, but all we can do is just maybe give you, from our point of view, if you need any advice or help, so just reach out.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem at all.
Alan.
But I do want people to get over. It'd be nice to get Alan up to 20 subscribers, by the end of the night. We're already at 6, so we're only 14 away. So if we could make that happen for Alan tonight, that'd be
wow, I got
brilliant.
Subscribers.
I suggest you'd probably be getting a lot more in the future, my man.
Now you're going to be a busy man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Big up, Alan. Big up, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys.
Patience,
come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for waiting. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you for waiting as well.
My pleasure.
Nice one, man.
My pleasure, guys. Take it easy.
Good night. Have a good rest of
you
your day.
too. All right. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the sunshine.
Have a good man. Have a good one. Guys, see that face, that smile on his face, that few you gave him from subscribing? More you can keep that smile on his face for the whole day. So get over there. Let's try and aim for 20 for Alan there. Tottenham Team Tottenham, go. The link is in the chat. Just get on it, get over, smash that subscribe button. We're 2 away from reaching 10. So we'll settle for a nice double digit if we can make that happen and get 2 years over. The link is here. Please help Alan out. But look, we're on to the last guest. I would suggest maybe get on your 3D glasses. You know, he has been away in Malta. He's probably glowing right now with a nice tan. Let's bring on Paul. Let's hear what he has to say. Big up, Paul. How are you keeping? Oh, you're on mute, my man.
I do that at work all the time. Evening, how are you?
Good to see you, Paul.
Not too bad. How's Malta?
Great. Yeah, nice and hot.
Did you go to Valletta?
Did it all, Valletta.
I think it's the old town, isn't it? They've got an old town and a new town there. Yeah. It's really nice.
Did the 3 cities, went over to Gozo, Comino. Busy week.
Nice. You've done the work. So Malta's a lovely country. It's very nice. If anyone hasn't ever been, I would suggest to go. I was over there for a wedding. It was really, really nice. But look, you know, amongst all your travels, I know you're a very busy guy. Did you get to watch the game?
I didn't miss the West Ham one, but I got the one when I come back yesterday.
The Forest one.
What was your thoughts on it?
Forest one started off really well. First 15 minutes, I thought this is starting to look good. Are we going to start to play? And then all of a sudden, we just had like a Morecambe and Wise moment. They literally just went and threw 2 legs and straight in the goal. It's like, well, where did that come from? And then we just fell to pieces after that. No one chased the ball down. They're all standing there looking around going, what's going on? And I was glad for the halftime whistle, to be fair. And then the second half, it was like watching a different team. We just come out and played like we should have been playing for 90 minutes. But we're getting there slowly but surely, which is good to see. There's progress.
What do you think led to that halftime turnaround? Is it solely on the substitutions that sort of on the impact? Did Ange have to go in there and lay into them? You know, you see that old video knocking around when the manager walks in and slaps the ball around the face, you know, walking around the dressing room and stuff like that. Do you think there's any of that carry on in there?
I think Ange does go at them at halftime because I think he expects a certain level of play from the players. It's like he always wants them to press. That after Forest scored, we seemed to be really central. They were all hanging around the centre and we were just getting obliterated on the wings. So Porro and Udogie were having to cover from a halfway line backwards. Udogie, I thought, was a bit lazy with the goal. You know, we went past him and just turned around and watched him go. And then Van der Ven had to sprint across the 18-yard box and Porro's coming from the other side. So in a way, I blamed Udogie for that particular goal. But then nobody else stepped up afterwards. They didn't go back at it. We were in control at that point, and I was just worried that they were going to do like 2 or 3 goals before we went in at half time. When he hit the post, I was like,
you really were like saying, yeah, just get us out of here. Just blow the whistle, please. No more, no out of time. I agree with you. What do you like? Similar question to Dave about how we were able to turn it around in the second half. Maybe it's actually the opposite question. Why is it that we seem to fall into that like kind of trap of just all of a sudden when we're on top of teams, we give up that kind of hold of the game. We give up that pressure. Why do you think that happens?
Hard to say, but I think it's more to do with the players' mentality overall. You know, oh, we're winning. We're only playing Nottingham Forest. You know, we haven't got anything to worry about. You know, we sit there and we just sit back against all teams in the lower half of the table. We do it every time. Sheffield United, Luton, the list goes on. We did it against Everton. You know, all these teams that we should have been winning. And the reality is, if we'd have beat all those teams, we'd be top of the league by now.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. We're only 10 points behind. So the points we've dropped, or to Wolves, we've lost 6 points this season, which we should be getting those. We lost another 2 to Everton on a draw. And I can't remember the other game that we drew that we should have won. There's your 10 points.
West Ham.
You'd literally be at the top of the table.
Do you know what,
and
Paul?
Those teams we should be beating.
I think you've hit the nail on the head on something there. Do you think that's where maybe the biggest frustration comes in and around, you know, Tottenham this season, and also maybe the questions around Ange? Because when you look at the big teams, historically, that's where Tottenham's problem was. But we haven't had a problem with them this year.
We have one of the best records against big teams this year. In fact, we have one of the best records.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like Jack says, they've won the best records against the top 6 teams. Is that maybe where the frustration comes in then? Like you said, losing points to teams that we just shouldn't be dropping points to.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you see these players and they can go against Man City toe to toe. They can go toe to toe to Arsenal. They can beat Liverpool, but then we'll go to Sheffield United and struggle to score. It just doesn't make sense. But we've done that for years. We'll play really well against the top teams. Get a decent return, and in the games we should be winning, we're just losing them for some reason. I think the whole mentality around the team has something to do with that as well. It's like, oh, we're only playing Nottingham Forest. They should see every game as they're playing Man City. If they did that, we'd win the league.
Yeah.
But they're like just coming out going, oh, well, it's only Nottingham Forest at home. We're going to win this. And then all of a sudden they shock them. They're all like, oh, what happened there?
Dropkick Your Teacher in the chat, too, Paul, had kind of a concern. I'm not sure if you share it, but he had a concern about us struggling to break down low blocks at times, because he was saying that if we were to get into Europe, it's not like these low blocks are going to get any easier. We're going to come up against like Diego Simeone, type of teams, and guys that will have very organized defensive teams with much better players as well to pick from, in those organized defensive teams. Does that worry you that kind of this season, maybe these low block, weaker teams have caused us problems?
It does, but I also believe that we haven't got a front line that we actually need to break those teams down. We haven't got, we hoped Maddison was going to come in and start creating and making these darting runs or spotting these runs.
Yeah.
Like against Forest, I think Son made about 5 or 6 runs down the middle, and he just got ignored every time. He just got passed out wide, or he just got totally ignored. And it was like, well, just pass it straight through, and he's through. Son always scores 1-on-1, but they just didn't put him through. And it was like, why? And then Maddison would hold it up or play sideways or backwards. I just think we need that explosive player that's going to take the ball, and we need another Gareth Bale, to be honest.
Love to have.
Do you know what, Jack? You said something the other day, something similar, didn't you?
Well, Dave and I were joking, Paul, that like while we love Harry Kane, we were saying that Gareth Bale is actually probably the most complete player I've ever seen in terms of just wingers, right? Because this team requires like wingers to be just effective in everything they do. They need to be good at creating chances, but they also need to create goals for themselves. And you're like, if Gareth Bale played in this system, you would probably score 30 goals and 30 assists. I think in this type of team. I don't know about you, because as much as I would love to have Kane back, I think I made the argument to Dave. I think I'd almost rather have Gareth Bale back, prime Gareth Bale for this type of team, because he would be unreal.
But you look back at previous Spurs teams, and we've always had that winger that can come out and a piece of masterclass out of nowhere. Ginola was another one. He could play rubbish for 89 minutes, and then he'll sit there on the halfway line, and then next minute, it's in the back of the net. And it's like, well, where did that come from? We don't have that player at the minute, and I think that will break those low blocks down. They just need to keep running at them. I think Timo's getting there with running at them, but can he keep that up for a full season? We've only seen him in the first, since he's come in. And was he bought as a stopgap, or was he bought to actually fill that gap?
Yeah.
So it's kind of thing. Is he like playing for his place in the team? Maybe he's going to go for it, and then next season he just trails off. Right, I've got my contract. That's what I don't want to see happen.
That's a good fear. I don't want to question Timo's professionalism, but there is that fear that we know he's playing for like his future. He's playing to like restart his career again. Like, even if it's not with Spurs, he wants to get back to playing with big teams and starting regularly. And like, he has 10 reasons to be motivated right now to get back to his best form. Whereas if he does give that permanent deal from Spurs, does he lose some of those reasons to play as motivated as he is right now? And I hate to question their professionalism, but it's a real thing. Like, you could expect that, if he is given that permanent move, does he start to not run as hard, off of the ball and things like that? That's a good point. It's a good fear to have.
We have players like that in the squad for years, get a new play contracts running out, or talks to them being sold. They play a binder for 4 games, get a new contract, and then they sort of die off. So, look, we'll wait and see what happens with Werner in that record. Sorry, Paul, I got crashing there, but
it's all right, no worries.
I was going to ask you though, Paul, like, what player would you said the forward line is where we need massive improvement. Is there a player that you've seen, or is there a player that's on your mind? I don't want to put you on the spot, but someone that, you think like would help solve that problem for us, like in terms of whatever forward that you think could help us out? Is there someone that
I'm not sure where, I'm hearing all names being bandied about, like Gimenez, Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins. And all these players, because they're 80 to 100 million. I think people forget we bought Gareth Bale for 7 million from Southampton.
Yeah.
So
Aaron Lennon, we got for 1 million off Leeds.
Yeah. And it's not, to me, it's not about how much we spend on a player. It's the right player. And I think that's what we need to do. And I don't think we found them yet.
You're basically hoping for another Vicario or another Van de Ven, kind of signing, you think, for the striker.
Yeah, somebody, because obviously, someone comes in at 100 million. Look at Ndombele, come in, spent 69 million or whatever it was on him to bring him in, and then he doesn't perform for us. Every big signing we've had has always done that. Yep. Because us as a fan base, we buy £100 million player. That's it. They've got to play amazing every single game. Yeah. And if they don't, they're like, oh my God, what's going on? Pressure goes on. Then all of a sudden their form drops. And then we end up losing money again constantly.
There's another thing too, Paul, like how many £100 million players in the last 4 or 5 years that have been bought have actually lived up to that price at all, or even close to it. Very few, actually. They even seem to go the opposite way. Players like Antony, players like Caicedo, players like Enzo Fernandez, all these Mudryk, all these £100 million players, end up actually kind of tanking because I think of that price. So there is that fear that you're just buying someone just for the sake of it being expensive, and that's going to convince people. We don't want to fall into that trap. It's a good point you make.
That's my biggest fear with Spurs. We don't, at the minute, the fans are giving it, oh, yeah, let's go and buy this player for 100 million and this player for 100 million. And then they come in and they won't perform. I'd rather, as like Ange said, I'd rather get 2 40, 50 million pound players that are going to come in and do the job for the team. We don't need 11 superstars in the team. With PSG have proved that don't work. We need to build a team, not a team of 1 or 2 superstars that we have to rely on. We did that with Kane, which is why we're where we are now. We didn't buy a winger or a creative player for a long time because of that reason. Now he's gone. There's a massive gap, not with just his scoring goals, but where he used to drop back and he used to create. Hence why Son and him used to link up really well, because Son would whip down the wing and Kane know exactly where he was. So it was, but we haven't got that player at the minute.
But look, I look, as much as I'd love Tottenham to go out and bang £100 million down on a striker, in the summer, bring me back in and stuff like that, it ain't going to happen. And I'd argue, I don't think you're going to see too many big signings on Davies' tenure. He got burnt with Ndombele, Sadado at the time. Although it was, you look at it so now it's their pittance. Back at the time, it was big money. And these sort of signings haven't really worked out for us. You're absolutely spot on. Kyle Walker. Picked him up from Sheffield United for barely anything. Darren Lennon from Leeds, 1 million. Gareth Bale, a couple of million from Southampton. For Tongan Alderweireld, a couple of million from Ericsson, a couple of million from Ajax and that. For Tongan and Ericsson, a couple of million from Ajax and stuff like that. You look at signings that we have made to come in and complement them. Wanyama, Dembele, people that were already around the Premier League or reasonably priced. Weirdly enough, when teams are out there spending, look, I think prices in football has gone mad. No player is worth 100 million. It's way overpriced. But weirdly, when everyone else is spending mad amount of money, we're actually in a position where we're actually finding a bargain with great mentality. So, we're sort of bucking the trend in that regard. And to be brutally honest with you, Paul, I'd expect that to probably continue. I agree with you. I don't think, as much as I'd like us to go out and lay down 80 million on Vlahovic and bring him in here tomorrow, I don't think it is going to happen. It probably will be, someone that many people wouldn't even think of. But, I hear this argument the whole time. Do Tottenham really need to go and spend £100 million on a striker? Because, you could make the argument that Werner's coming to this team, scored goals. People hate Richarlison. He's in this team scoring goals. Do you really need a £100 million player? Because most strikers would kill to play in this team because they know they get bags full of goals.
I don't think we do. I just think we need to find a player that's actually going to want to play for Spurs. As Ange said, we don't want players who just want to come to us because, they've got Champions League football. We want players to come in because they'll be proud to wear that white shirt every day, every week, week in, week out, and they'll be as proud as playing for them as we are supporting them. That are the players I want to see, like the players that have come in recently, like Vicario, Maddison, Van de Ven. You can see when they put that shirt on, that they go for it. Yes, Maddison's form's dropped dramatically, but he did that at Leicester as well. He was always up and down. A lot of Leicester fans warned us that he was like that. He'd have an amazing few weeks and then he'd drop off for the second half of the season, and then he'll come back and have an amazing game or two. So we kind of expected that with Maddison, but with Van de Ven and stuff, you can see they're just proud to be playing for Tottenham. You know, you can see it like that goal he scored against Forest. That was a bullet.
Absolutely leathered it. The definition of leathering it, I think, Paul. It makes me, you know, I'm a younger fan, but sometimes I do wish football were a bit simpler like that in games where it's like just leather it, you know, see what happens, you know, and he's done exactly that for us. Very, very relieved. One of my goals of the season, actually, I think my favorite goals this season have all been from defenders, weirdly enough. I wish Sonny and Maddison had popped up with more of those.
That's the thing, and I don't think our strikers are taking enough chances when they get them either. You know, they're just sitting there like Basuma against Forest. He started to hit him from outside the box, but I think that's the first time I've seen that this season. You know, where our midfielders are actually trying to bang one or two in from outside the box. You know, like Bale used to come up and whack one in from 30 yards, or Ginola used to do it. You know, we need, or Modric was another one that did it. We need players that are not going to be scared to shoot from distance. And that's where I think you beat the low block teams, because they'll all be sitting back in the 18-yard box expecting us to go at them. Let's have a midfielder just pop up and whack one from the 18-yard box. You know, like Van de Ven did against Forest. Prime example. Literally, it's just Sonny passed it thing, just whacked it straight in the top corner. But that's what we need to see more on.
Look at McAllister for Liverpool the other day against Sheffield. Although they battled against United at the weekend, you know, he was him with a long-range effort that, you know, got them over the line against Sheffield United the week before to keep them in the title race and stuff like that. And you're absolutely right. Like where we're at with the low block now, we try all this intricate, lovely little stuff, you know, but what good is that when they're blocking up the middle anyway? You're never going to play that sort of ball through 8-9 players that are just sitting there. You do have to take risks. You have to take shots. You have to put crosses in the box. You know, try and get in behind that back line, whipping in behind. But look, hopefully we can get them sort of players in here in the summer, because I do believe if we get them, I think we'll be a lot more scary of an opposition next year than what we are this year. I think teams are wary of us with possession and stuff, but I feel like they feel confident if they set everyone behind the ball to catch us on the counter. But if we become really clinical and important, there'll be fear going into coming up against the next season.
I just want to see us secure up that high line a little bit more, so a good number 6 come in. Couple of wingers maybe, you know, to provide a little bit more competition on those wings, especially for the likes of Kulu, Timo if he stays, you know, but we need to buy better players than them. We can't be buying the same level as them. We've got to buy better. So then that makes them better because they want to get back in the team. So, yeah, I just don't want to see us buying players that are worse than what we've got. You know, these so-called squad players. We need more than a squad. We need 22 players that can step into that first team at any point, especially with Europe next season.
Completely agree, Paul.
Well, yeah, look, so do I. And hopefully next season with the right signings, we'll get ourselves just in a title race. Whether we win it or not is a different story. And I know Teslam's probably listening, and he'll probably come on 6 time and, you know, another go at me about it. But look, you know, I do believe, you know, a couple of right signings heading into next season. Look, let's wait and see what happens. But Paul, great speaking to you again. Another great call in. I actually always really enjoy these interactions. So thank you very much for coming on, man. And another great call. And I believe we've got a Spurs story to do very soon, right? Now that you're back.
Yeah, I'll try and fill it in around work. I'm busy this week, so I've got to catch up with like 800 emails or something while I've been away.
Big up, Paul.
You know, catch up this week and sort something out for next week. Probably be next week at some point.
Okay.
No problem. Thanks for let me know when you're free.
Thanks for your patience as well tonight, Paul, and for you waiting and everything. We appreciate it, man.
And it was nice.
Much appreciated.
So fair play.
Yeah. Thanks for letting people go ahead of you too, and also thanks for being the closer. You got to do the closer role now for us.
That
Paul.
Makes a change. I get to close it. Let's hope Tottenham can close top 4. That's all.
Let's hope they do with your blessing.
Nice.
Big up, Paul.
Absolute pleasure as always, though. I really do enjoy these interactions. You got a lot of good things to say, Paul. So thank you very much.
Cheers for having me, guys. Come on, you
Love
Spurs.
it, Paul. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Paul.
Big up, Paul.
I don't know if I'm listening to people better today, Dave, but I have loved everybody's accents for some reason more so today. Even I like Paul's accent also a lot as well. Just a nice voice to listen to. Teslim was nice to listen to. Alan was great. I loved everybody today. They really were great chats. I've had a lot of really nice chats today.
No, really enjoyed. Really, I'm glad I rushed back actually because it was good fans. I really enjoyed speaking to everyone today. Great calls, especially near the end. Sometimes near the end, you can sort of lose enthusiasm and stuff like that. But like Paul, Alan, Teslim, they really, kept us enthusiastic, kept us going. Great discussions. Absolutely loved it today. So everyone out there, thank you very much for today. I appreciate it.
Terrific from everyone. So many great. I think we even had the debut of Charlie, if I'm not mistaken, too. Maybe he called in another time, but so many great people today. So I really do appreciate everybody who came on and had their say. I think we had around 10 or so people on tonight. So that's what we like to go for. We'd love to have so many chats with all of you, and also appreciative of everyone who, of course, waited very patiently as well. We try to get through everybody, but we also don't want to rush anybody. I think that would be rude, but we do try to keep it efficient as well. So just again, my thank you to all of you for staying patient and waiting patiently. And we're now at the end here, everybody. If you can for us, feel free to smash the like button if you haven't already on your way out. If you do want to have your say, grab a membership. You can chat with me and Dave next time for these ones, and we'll see you for the rest of the week of content. Twitter Reacts is already up there. We'll think of something for the rest of the week here, but there's that to mull over. There's also I did put in the community section. Feel free to watch Alan's video, Tottenham Go. So
no, 100%. That's what I was going to say. Get over, give Alan your support. Let's keep subscribing over there at Tottenham Go. I want to say a massive thanks to Paul O'Connor, the regular, Marky Cook, and THFC Till I Die. I believe that is Charlie. Big old Charlie. Joseph O'Hanlon. Drop Kick Your Teacher. Great name.
Legend.
Ellie. Drop Kick
Really
Your Teacher again. Al Ben. And also Jim, just a guy who loves Spurs. I really appreciate all you guys for the support and going the extra mile up and beyond. It really does help content creators like us. Really helps keep us going and stuff like that. So thank you very much on that behalf. And lastly, I'm going to be brutally honest and shoot the shit with you guys. There's 2 massive Champions League games on tomorrow. I ain't missing either one of them. One is the return of Harry Kane, my guy. Might have to watch him.
We need him to do a job.
And the other is City and Madrid. So do not expect to see me, Jack. You can do what you want tomorrow evening, but don't expect to see me on tomorrow evening when them games are going ahead. However, I will put out a lone report for you guys at some point tomorrow, for content for you guys to feast your eyes on, but do not expect to see me on screen tomorrow evening.
Can't be. No. Yeah, we got to enjoy the football, everybody. But look out for whatever comes out the rest of this week. Again, very appreciative of those of you guys who have supported the channel today, and look forward to seeing you guys for the rest of the week. In Newcastle, we stormed the castle, like Sean said earlier. We stormed the castle for get ready for that mindset. Big up, everyone. Come on, you Spurs. In the Big Ange we trust. We never stop. We'll be seeing you.
Everywhere we go.